This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. You're tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Scotty Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Show on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
On the morning show, Big O. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk...
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
live and direct, because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live.
When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today. 786-802-1727 or online at adreamlending.com. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Yeah, hello, good morning. Hope you all are doing well and feeling good. Feeling like I am, which right now we're feeling pretty good because you know what's going on, right? It's all about the shib. Yeah, we're shibbing. Good morning. Yes, shib is up. What is it, like 20% right now? Man, oh, what a beautiful story that is. Anyway, welcome aboard. Time to have some fun on the show through all the craziness that we're going through as we have to now go through another week of this whole Deshaun Watson mess. You know, I was thinking about this, and the twisted part about all of this is that I don't think he's going to end up here now, because if you saw the latest report is now that Deshaun Watson is open to different destinations. So I think the fact that Miami has sucked so badly, because some of us, I mean, logically, we sit here. I know we're Dolphin fans and we love the Dolphins and we want them to win and all that, of course. But they've been terrible, right? And some of us have asked ourselves, dude, why do you want to come here? They have no offensive coordinator. They have no offensive line coach. The head coach doesn't know what the hell he's doing right now. It looks like a clown show right now. Somebody actually named it Clown Flow, right? I think it was, right, Chris? I think, no, Flozo the Clown he named, which is actually, it is a clown show. You don't even know who the offensive coordinator is. They don't even have reliable receivers. Not even his former teammate is reliable, and he should know that. So now all of a sudden, we're hearing that Carolina is part of the mix, because they started off so they were really hot with Sam Darnold, and then now they've lost 4 in a row, and they've benched Sam Darnold, and my boy PJ got an opportunity and all that. So it's just one of those deals where it now looks like he also is open to going to other places. And I'm sure that he and his agent sat down and said, hey, man, you're leaving a shitty situation. Do you want to get traded to another shitty situation? You have a no trade clause. You get to control this. You're going to get your money no matter what. So let's put you in the best position. And the Panthers actually have a better receiving core. They probably have a better line. They definitely have a better offensive coordinator. Isn't Joe Brady there? Oh, he's way better than anything you got here. Right? I'm just saying. It's you know how twisted this is? So you drafted Tua. You pretty much quickly quit on him, and you're not supporting him. You've created a polluted environment for him, because by you dissing the kid and benching him and messing with him the way you have, and then the worst kept secret is that it keeps getting out that you really are trying to trade for Deshaun Watson. So you've polluted the entire environment already. for a guy now that you may not even end up getting now. And if you don't end up getting him, you now have to turn around and go, oh, honey, no, you're fantastic. No, I never really loved her. I never really wanted to be with her. No, 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 no. I'm so sorry. It was pure physical. Oh, so what do you mean? You don't want to have sex with me either? So this is the conversation, right? This is the conversation. Now you got to go back to your woman and apologize to her, this and that. And is that relationship salvageable? Or is Tua going to say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to remember that when contract negotiations come up because I'm going to ball out. And when I want to get paid, maybe I'll say, I want to get paid somewhere else and I want to leave. Then you have yourself an Aaron Rodgers situation. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, you went out of your way to tell your quarterback that you drafted you don't want him. You went out of your way to not be able to keep this a secret because it kept getting out. And now, because of all of this and because of what you've done on the field, you may have turned off the person you're trying to trade for. And as we all know with Deshaun Watson, he's turned on and off a lot. So there you go. That's that's the situation that has developed now. Good morning, Nizzle. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. He says, nice hat. Good morning from cold as F Cleveland. Hang in there, Nizzle. I'll be there next month, my brother. I'll be there next month for the Genesis concert. Yeah, I'll be there for a couple days. I'm going to go for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll be up there for I'm going to go to the NFL Hall of Fame because my buddy has never been to Canton. So we'll go again. I'll go again. He'll go for the first time. I never went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when I went up for the Marino deal when he was inducted into the Hall. So which is funny that a guy like me would not go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but it was such a busy week that I was so focused on work that I did not enjoy myself to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But you bet your ass this time I am going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I am thoroughly going to enjoy the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. So Nizzle, I'll be there soon, man. Any of you out there that in that Cleveland area, maybe we can meet one early evening for a drink or something like that. If you're in the Cleveland area, I would love to meet with some of you out there that are listening right there. I see my man South Florida Don is saying shib it, baby, shib it, shib. I wish they start burning coins, man. If they start burning coins, then we've got real hope to climb really high. And I'm not talking about $2 or $3. I'm talking about, maybe 10, 15, 20 cents, something like that. And those of us that got in early, you are enjoying some serious profits right now for that gamble we took with Shib, because I don't necessarily, although it does have technology. And what I love is I'm seeing people around the crypto verse kind of admit that they were wrong about Shib, because a lot of people compared it to Doge, and that's kind of dumb because if you look at it, Doge has zero technology, nothing. Shib has lots of technology, actually. Shib is more comparable to Ethereum than Doge. So people don't understand. So that's the difference. When you have staking pools and you have NFTs and DAX and everything else that they've got going on, it's a whole different ball game. It's got a blockchain that they're building. Yeah, it's actually got technology behind it. That swap competes with Uniswap and PancakeSwap and all of that. That's when people actually do their homework. they'll go, wow, okay, SHIB is not really just a meme coin. It actually has technology behind it. It actually has, things that you can use every single day, you know? And once they get their blockchain going, if they add smart contracts to it, that just becomes, that goes to another level. Big O, which portal is your show in real time, YouTube or podcast? I thought podcasts are only recorded. Sean, just tell me, is that the kind of question that makes you think, am I drinking this morning? Am I confused here? I mean, that was which portal is your show in real time? YouTube or podcast? Oh God, if I gotta answer that, you can't figure that one out yourself? Oh God. I hope he meant like another kind of question. He just worded it wrong or something. Big O, can you give us the wall display? Pretty cool. Oh, you don't. Well, yeah, it's a bunch of banners that I've put up. Obviously, Miami FC, our local soccer team, one of our local soccer teams. Then the Strikers are the former team that were here in the NASL and the USL, and then obviously we got the Panthers. There you go, right behind me, the best team in town right now. Then the Miami FC is right next to it. Then the Miami Dolphins. I ordered because I when I put this stuff up, I realized I don't have a Heat banner, and so I've got some other Heat paraphernalia, but not that there. So I'm gonna actually put the Heat banner. I think I'm gonna put it over by the Miami FC one, and then move the Miami FC one a little bit over, and I'll put the Heat banner there. That's what I'm missing. And then obviously I got my soul. Can you open it up for me there, Sean, the whole deal, so people can see everything? There you go. And it's not everything. I mean, I got all kinds of shit inside this studio, but as you can see back there, I got some stickers from NorCal. That's NorCal Dolphin Club up there. Then this is Finns Nation UK. Send me a sticker. Tommy gave me that dolphin sticker there. And then the Worldwide Dolphin Club, another logo and another club, obviously NorCal is part of. What else do we have here? Now I'm not going to be able to remember everybody. Dougie Fresh gave me that lunchbox. I know I'm not going to be able to remember every name for everything. I know it. GP Trap gave me that Batman Rockin'. Let's see. I got my Merino hiding back there, as you guys see. This is actually when he got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And we were just talking about that last time I was in Cleveland, was for that. And so I had to, well, you think I'm not going to get this? How much did I pay? I paid $20 for it. Back in the day, the sticker, the price sticker is still on it. So I got my Jose Fernandez, obviously, in honor of the kid. Unfortunately, wish he would have made better decisions. Little Panther flag, Miami Soul. You got to remember the forgotten there in the Miami Soul. So I mean, it's just there's a lot of things, man. A lot of things back there. Got these Coke cans from back in the day. Anybody remember these? This is like a collector's item now. I probably could sell this crap, right? This thing, I bet you a UM fan would pay for this thing. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, we will never experience this kind of stuff again. That's the sad part. That is the sad part. But so many have contributed to everything that is back there, man, and all over the place. So I appreciate all of you out there that have contributed to the room and the back part. So all kinds of good stuff there, man. I appreciate all of you out there. Let's see. A local county journalist. As a local county journalist, I love your show and hope to join one day as a guest and talk Dolphins. All right. Appreciate you. Anthony Campbell says, Big O for the Halloween Sports Grill this Sunday. Is it going to be a Halloween vibe for the Dolphins game? What is your favorite Halloween movie, Big O? The Bills this week. It is going to be a massacre. I think, it's going to be ugly. I don't know if they're, I'm sure. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, it was already dressed up in Halloween this week. That's right. They already had all the stuff in Halloween. Yeah. No, it's already, Sports Grill's already dressed up in Halloween stuff. So, yeah, it'll be a horror show on Sunday. I hate to say it. Although it wouldn't shock me that the Dolphins, like, it's one of those freakish things. The sun shines on every dog's ass every once in a while, and the Dolphins put together like the game that they can't play the rest of the year, and they go out and beat the Bills. And I'm not telling you like beat them by 30 points, just like beat them by a point and just get lucky. And we're all sitting there going, God, they beat the Bills and then they suck all these other games. That would be so Dolphins to do something like that. Like they'll beat the Bills and then they'll lose to two or three more sorry teams right after. And that'll be so Dolphins. It'll be kind of the crap that we've gone through for the last 20 years, unfortunately. But yeah, come on down. What's my favorite? I guess it probably Halloween 1. Probably the original Halloween is probably my favorite horror movie. Exorcist was great. Omen was great. I mean, I can think of some other ones, but I'll probably go with Halloween. By the way, mad props to Rob Zombie. I thought he did a really good job of the remake. We have one of those Marino cutouts from the induction too, says Lisa. Damn right. Got to get one of those, man. I want to get a D Wade one when I go to Springfield because I will go to the NBA Hall of Fame the weekend that Wade is inducted. That would be freaking awesome to like enjoy that kind of deal. Big O, I have thought about long and hard. Greer basically set the bar for himself. If our draft picks is a higher pick than San Francisco's pick, the administration should be fired. Leon, look, at this point, nobody's going to be happy with Greer and nobody's going to be happy with Flores right now. I understand all of that. I don't want to see the men fired. I really don't. I'm really pissed at Flores because this place looks like a damn clown show. And I'm really pissed that he has mishandled things so badly, especially with the quarterback. I don't like the way they've handled the quarterback position. They're kind of setting themselves up, my brother. It doesn't matter what you want or I want or anybody wants. You're going down that road. You know what I mean? And I hate to see this because you almost feel like we're going to get this whole thing where they give them the opportunity to come back next year, and now they're pressured to hell, and now they've got to try to make desperation moves to try to save their asses and save the season and save their jobs, and it just becomes a really difficult season in 2022. And I'm just afraid that we're going to be in that situation that we've seen over and over and over again with different coaches and front offices, that they're coming to a head, that here comes the fork in the road, and you've got to make a decision as an owner, and you've got to figure out whether you have the right person or not running your organization and your team. And so it doesn't really, at this point, I get it. A lot of you want to fire Greer. A lot of you want to fire Flo. A lot of you want to fire both of them. A lot of you want Stephen Ross, to sell the team, which it's already sold. There's already the next owner in place, all that stuff. I get all your anger, man. I get all your frustration. I share the frustrations with you all out there. I don't want to see this. Look, I'm sure nobody in the building wants to see this. Obviously not the owner. I'm sure Greer and Camflo are like sick to their stomachs right now with what's going on. And I'm sure, a lot of the players that actually give a shit, they're probably also, sick to their stomachs about everything that's going on and frustrated, just like we are. Let's not make it sound like we're the only ones. Now, it's hard for us to have the same kind of sympathy because we've been going through this for over 20 years now. And all the only thing that happens is that the faces change, but the situations are all the same, aren't they? So if it's not Flo's face, it's Cam's face. And if it's not Cam's face, it's Gase's face. And if it's not Gase's face, it's Wanstead. But there's no difference, dude. It's all the same thing. It gets to a point where you have the bad moment, and then you've got to try to redeem yourself. And that's what's coming. The redeeming season for next year. And in all of our cases so far, the redeeming season ends up becoming another failure. And then you end up making the change again, and we end up in the same cycle again. And new people come in and new schemes, and they don't like these players, and they want new players, and then you got to hope the new players they get are good, and that they don't overpay and get the wrong free agents, and that they can't find the right coaches, and all this and that. And somebody was telling me yesterday on Twitter, well, the Dolphins should get an experienced coach. Been there, done it. They got Dave Wanstead, right? Experienced coach. They got Nick Saban, experienced coach, right? They got Jimmy Johnson, experienced coach. They've done the experience. They've done the up-and-coming coordinator. They've done everything. They've done it every which way possible. They just haven't found the right young and up-and-coming coordinator that's ready to become a head coach, or they haven't found the right retreaded coach that is the guy to turn your franchise around and get you going in the right direction. Parcells wasn't here as a coach, but he was as a front office guy, and it didn't work out either. So you've used the big name in the front office. You've used the big names on the sidelines. You've used the up-and-coming coordinators on the sidelines, and nothing has worked. It's the most frustrating thing there is in the world. Don't you think the Detroit Lions have done that too for 60 years now? That they tried the retread, they tried the young and up-and-coming coach, they tried everything. They tried the broadcaster from the booth and bring him in. They've tried everything. It's frustrating, man. There's like nothing new to try. It's just a matter of picking the right people. And there's a lot of people now that are convinced that Flo and Greer are not the right people. Question is, where is the owner on this? And that's where we're at now. And we have no control over what's going to happen. And as an owner, and listen, all of us, we really don't have the answers. Whether you think Louis Riddick can do it or go get Brian Dable or whatever. I mean, none of that is guaranteed. There's nothing out there that you're going to hire and you're going to say for sure it's going to work. It's the same gamble they've been taking for over 25 years now. Same exact gamble. And it's just a matter of dialing up the right lottery numbers. And they just haven't been able to find the right guy or men. Because you need, obviously, the front office man and you need the head coach. And by the way, they've tried everything. They've tried the big name that is the head coach / front office guy. They've tried the two different ways where you have the GM and the head coach separate. They've tried where the two are coming in together. They've tried every combination possible. There's nothing that you and I can come up with that they haven't tried already. The bottom line is they can't find the right people. And we don't know right now if Flo and Greer are the right people because they haven't proven it yet. And I get it, man. You're all pissed off and you want to fire everybody. But remember what I tell you? You can fire Manny Diaz. See, at the University of Miami, I could guarantee you that it'll never change because they're not changing. And until they change, it won't change. So you'll hire a Randy Shannon and an Al Golden and a Manny Diaz because that's all you want to spend on. You're not really willing to really have an elite football program. So there I get it. But here, this is not a lack of resources. It's not like Wayne never gave you a lack of resources, and Stephen Ross certainly hasn't given you a lack of resources. It's just a lack of hitting on the right people. That's the problem right now for this team. It's hitting on the right person. Truly skilled since 07 says, Big O, I'm 30 from the middle of nowhere in Illinois. Chose the Dolphins as my team as a kid. They trade for a Predator. I will quit supporting the team till the Predator and those who wanted him are gone. It's crazy, man. It's frustrating. I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Big O, you keep criticized all coaches. If it's all about the coaches, how come Don Shula currently delivered a great team for Dan? Actually, he didn't, George. He didn't deliver a great team for Dan. That's kind of the criticism of Shula towards the end. I'm not sure, George, if you phrased it wrong, but you go, Big O, you keep criticized all coaches. If all about the coach, how come Don Shula current delivery a great team for Dan? Okay, he did not deliver a great team for Dan. I don't know if that's what you're saying. But remember, Don Shula was the GM and the coach. And that was the knock on Shula down the stretch, unfortunately. That he had the great quarterback and he couldn't figure out the defense and he couldn't figure out the running game, my man. But I don't know, maybe you're too young and you don't know and you didn't live it. So maybe you're talking a little bit out of ignorance. I'm not exactly sure. Sometimes when we talk about these kind of things, I don't know who's on the other end and I don't know how old you are to see if you actually lived the era to actually know what went on. You know what I mean? But that's actually a knock on him. He failed there. You know, hate to say it, but that's probably his biggest regret and biggest failure of his career was not being able to complete that for 13. That's kind of the way it went, unfortunately. All I can say is thank goodness for the Florida Panthers. That's what Mike No-Go Zone says. Yeah, but Mike No-Go Zones, I know you. You're an Islanders guy. You, sir, cannot get on our bandwagon right now. Islanders fan trying to get on our bandwagon right now at 6-0. One of 24 teams in NHL history to go 6-0. By the way, great stat. Not only are the Panthers one of 24 teams to go 6-0, all but 3 that did it made it to the Stanley Cup. All that went 6-0 or better, 3 of them made it to the Stanley Cup. 11 won the division or finished first in the league. And by the way, the Panthers are the only undefeated team in the Eastern Conference. 10 of them reached the semifinals. 4 won the cup, including Q's Chicago team back in 2013. So, and by the way, the record is 10-0 in the NHL, in NHL history. Toronto in 93-94 and Buffalo in 06-07 were the two teams to start off 10-0. So the Panthers are 4 games away from tying the all-time best start in NHL history. So if that's not a reason to fill the empty seats that are left, and I know this town very well, and, we're about to talk to Ira, and Pat Riley and company have done a great job of making us a basketball town and filling that place up, something that Chaffel and Cunningham would have never been able to do compared to what these guys have done. They installed a culture, not just on the court, but off the court. Okay? I could argue that the Heat culture off the court is stronger than even the Dolphin culture. The Dolphin fan base might be older and deeper and all that, but the culture right now that the Heat organization has going on, it happens a lot in the crypto community. Part of crypto success is creating a culture and a following. And Cardano, they have over 70% of Cardano staked. That means people are holding over, just over 70% of the Cardano that's available. They're not selling it. They keep it. I know, because I've got a lot of it too myself. So it's kind of part of the whole thing. And I think the Panthers, they kind of created that culture in the mid-90s. As the season goes on and as people get educated and they realize how good this team is, how entertaining it is, this group now will finally get the opportunity to build that culture that they were starting to do in the mid-90s. They just didn't finish it. The Heat have put a bow on it. That's it. Heat culture is true and true from beginning to end, from fans to the organization, to the game, to everything that's all about it. I don't care if it's the Heat family thing that they do, you name it. They have entrenched themselves because of that. And that's something that now the Panthers have to work on. But finally, they have the team, they have the coach, and it looks like they got the right front office guy in Bill Zito. And so I'm looking forward to seeing those empty seats get filled out as the season goes on and people get educated and they figure out what the Panthers are all about. Kind of like crypto. 95% of the world has no idea what it's all about, and they have no idea that it's going to take over. But eventually, the world will educate themselves. They will have no choice, and they will catch up. That's how it is. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to catch up with Ira Winderman and our Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report. That's next.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
Good morning, Ira. How are you doing, my friend? You doing
well?
good?
I'm doing good after a win. I'm not doing good because I was going to fly to Brooklyn today, and then a nor'easter arrived. So I very well might be wind up covering tomorrow's game from home, sort of shades of recent seasons. But the one thing I know about New York, when they get flooding, getting around in that city and using the subways. So I might be here on that quote-unquote set tomorrow with Clay Ferraro with our Palette Rack City Inside the Paint report. But plenty of juicy bits to talk about. One, obviously going to Brooklyn and just facing the Nets and everything that's going on with them, from Kyrie being out to James Harden not able to get to the foul line and maybe put on a couple of pounds there also. So interesting Nets stories and interesting Heat stories, including, and again, it's funny. You and I, this must be decades already, talking about the Heat's lack of a backup point guard, and I get yelled at by the Heat. And yet those moments come through, and certainly you saw the game Saturday between takes on the game.
I thought about you the entire game.
Yeah, so, as I'm sure Pat Riley did as well, and they're not budging. They are just about the luxury tax. They don't want to make a move yet. They don't want to panic. I did raise in my Ask Ira at sunsentinel.com this morning the John Wall possibilities because, yes, it's insane, Big O. He is due $80 million over the next 2 seasons from the Rockets, but he's not playing at all. So at some point, if you're a player and you want to play, you have to reach that buyout. And I know that some fans have sort of pushed back at me. John Wall hasn't been the same player. He hasn't played. His ego is too big. He wants to start. If you have Oladipo,
He'd be the greatest backup point guard in Heat history, dude.
Yes.
Come on.
And for those who are saying, well, what about when Oladipo comes back? You know what? He'll be the greatest backup shooting guard, that you can have. The more talent, the better. John Wall was very good when he played at the start of last season for the Rockets. I'm intrigued by that at a minimal price. Folks, the Heat ain't going out and paying his $40 million salary. No one is. So it's just, it's that who blinks first game between the Rockets and Wall. How much does he have to give back of that $80 million? We saw Blake Griffin, the same thing, have 2 years left last year with the Pistons. He gave back enough of a chunk. They let him go to Brooklyn. The Pistons are happier. They're paying less money. Don't have an old guy in their roster. The Nets are happier. They're having a contributing older player. I see that playing out the same way with John Wall. He spends all of his summers here. He works out with Heat players in the offseason. It would be a natural fit. And the one thing matter of fact, this is almost the previous segment you were talking about culture. The Heat culture will make it work. That John Wall going to 4 or 5 other places, you might go, here we go again. That doesn't happen with the Heat. They bring in these guys in these situations and they make it work.
Well, remember, it's half and half. I think the player also is excited to be able to join a place that has structure, because when once you've been in other places and you've noticed what a disaster it is, and it's unorganized and it's just not the same. Sometimes these players, they love actually structure. They actually like the discipline at times. The guys that don't like the discipline, those kind of like the Whitesides, those aren't the guys you want in your organization anyways.
Right.
So half of them, I think half of those guys that join the Heat organization, they feel re-energized because they're like, holy shit, dude, I don't have to carry the load for everything and try to straighten this guy out and carry this guy and then do this. And, the policing is done for me already. Everybody is in line.
You accept your role. As long as Pat Riley will tell you it's this, Eric Spoelstra will tell you it's this. Are you in or are you out? And you know what? If you want to be more, your Hassan Whiteside analogy is perfect there. Or think you could be something else. We've seen all these Heat players leave and disappear. So I think that would be intriguing. Look, this is not panic time or anything. It's 3 games in. It's so early. Matter of fact, it's crazy. When you look at who the Heat have played, they haven't played a real team in this aspect. They played the Bucks in the opener with no Brook Lopez, no Drew Holiday, no Bobby Portis. They go to Indiana, no TJ Warren, no Karis LeVert. They come home last night, no Jonathan Isaac, no Michael Carter-Williams, no Markelle Fultz for the Magic. And of course, they're going up to Brooklyn, no Kyrie Irving. Now, I know the Heat didn't have Kyle Lowry one game also, but just get the wins now. You'll figure out who you are and who they are later. Just get the W's. And like I told you this last week when we did our last Accurate Pembroke Pines report, you cannot lose to the Magic. You cannot lose to the Pistons. You cannot lose to the Cavaliers because everyone else in the East is good. Washington is good. Chicago is good. Charlotte is good. You're going to have 12 teams competing for playoff spots. You've got to do what you did last night. Thankfully, no Evan Fournier and Nikola Vucevic to get in the way and screw things up, like always. But you got to get the ones you can get. And you know what? Tomorrow in Brooklyn is gettable also. The Nets have been very uneven to start the season.
Yeah, and by the way, just to go back to have a little fun with the John Wall scenario, just to throw it out to Heat fans, they can both be point guards, also backup point guards, because Spo will be able to play with it down the stretch. If I need more of a defensive point guard at that moment, I use Oladipo. If I need more of an offensive point guard at that moment, I use John Wall. You know what I'm saying? So in a way, it also, I know I'm playing fantasy sports right now. Because one, we need Oladipo to get healthy and stay healthy. And two, we actually need this whole Wall situation to happen. But if it does, it gives Spo a lot of flexibility too that he probably doesn't have with either guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
and I'm going to give you one other aspect of this. Come the buyout deadline, which is around March 1st, you have to be waived by your previous team. You better be in a good position so someone wants to go there. And the example, Big O, I would offer to you is last season. Blake Griffin.
I thought it was Deshaun Watson.
It's similarly. I mean, it could be.
After all this, he may not even want to come to the
No, he
Dolphins
may go,
anymore.
you know what? Carolina might still make the playoffs. I'd rather go over there. Just like last year at the buyout deadline, Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge said, a Heat team that might go out in the first round or a Nets team that can contend for a title. So you have to position yourself early to make yourself attractive, sort of the opposite of where the Dolphins are now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Tonight, last night, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Duncan Robinson, first 3 games, field goal percentage 36%, 3-point percentage 32%, free throws 66%. I know it's only 3 games, but he's not shooting very well.
No, and you know what? He started off poorly last season. Remember, we were all panicked. He's under 42%. He had that great 46, 48% year the year before. He'll come around. He does, like Duncan Robinson told me one thing. He says, look, I shoot 3 of 10 on threes and I've had a terrible night. I shoot 5 of 10 on threes and I've had a great night. Early in the season, the sample size is so small that if he goes out, and has a 6 of 8 tomorrow in Brooklyn, everything changed. The shooting percentage changes. The 3-point percentage changes. It's still early. And here's the other part of that. Gravity. Opponents still know where Duncan Robinson is every single minute of the game. They're not playing off of him. That's letting Jimmy play much more in the post. And it's letting, like you wanted and you're seeing, Bam Adebayo play much more in the post. So the fact that Duncan Robinson, honestly, 2 guys, that Duncan Robinson is out there with his gravity. And honestly, one of your favorites, Max Strus, is out there. And he now also has gravity. After people have seen him in the preseason and what he's done now, they're staying with him also. That's what spacing is about. Spacing is not about made shots. It's about a reputation. It's about don't leave PJ Tucker open in the corner. He's been doing this for over a decade. That's what the Heat have now, is they have people you're respecting. What they don't have necessarily with the Markieff Morris is that. So what does Spo do? He brings them into the mid-range. He says, look, let's not keep chucking them up there. No one's guarding it out there. But in the mid-range, you're a factor. And he was really good in that role yesterday against the Magic.
I thought, I really like what I've seen from Tyler overall. A nice complete game last night.
Yes.
And I just really, I don't know what it is. The light went on. I don't know. He has a kid now. Sometimes you do change a little bit when you have a child. I'm not saying everybody grows up, but there is a tendency that there's a little extra desperation that sets in when you start to, develop a family. Those of us that have a family, you know what I'm talking about. That, that heightened sense of alertness that, like, okay, well, wait a minute now. My life is not about me anymore. It's about somebody else now that I've got to put in front, and I've got to make sure their lives are better. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's, come clean with you guys on it. But it just seems like it seems like it's a more mature player out there right now.
Oh, I'm going to go another direction. I think it's having time off between seasons. And I'll give you an example you can relate to.
Okay.
It's one thing when you're doing a radio show at a professional soccer stadium, and then boom, you're back in the bunker doing your radio show. It takes time to adjust. You can't just go from A to B like that. You have to say, we'll reset it up this way. We'll format it this way. Same thing with Tyler. He gets done with the playoffs. He was great in the 2020 playoffs. He beat the Boston Celtics. He had 4 weeks off and do it again, do it again, do it again. That's hard to do. He exhaled, it's like, the old namaste kind of thing. He let it all out. He found his higher being. He needed that. He needed a break. Oh, how many times have you just been burnt out? You take that vacation, you take that exhale, you come back as a different and more refreshed person. I think that more than the family, more than anything else, he needed his time off. A lot of these Heat players needed his time off. Eric Spoelstra spoke about this yesterday after the game. We asked him about Bam playing so much better, more forceful in the paint, more forceful on the boards. And he said, look, he had a summer. He didn't have a shoulder injury. He worked with the national team. He worked on his jab jumper a little bit. He had the time. You need an off season. Everyone needs time to recharge. A lot of us didn't get that because of the pandemic. It's just been months and days and everything running together. I think that's the difference for Tyler. The kid finally exhaled, and now, don't take this the wrong way, he's inhaling something really good.
All right, that's good. As long as it's not
I just
a mask that some former Dolphin offensive lineman used, and he's going to be all right. So far at 2-1. Your thoughts on the bench play outside of Tyler?
Showing hope and showing signs of what it could be. Certainly, Tyler's we spoke about is very much stepped up. Man, Dwayne Dedmon is a Heat center, isn't he? He just has that. Don't F with me. I'll put you in your place. I'm going to use my fouls. I'm going to use my tees. I'm going to use my flagrant. He is that twice yesterday, the ball was on the floor. And it reminded me of football players going after the fumble. They don't care who got the ball first. They care who winds up with the ball last. That's what he is. I can imagine the body parts he was grabbing at the bottom of that scrum. You got to love the guy for what he is and who he is. And last night to me was so heartening, Big O, about Markieff Morris, that he came out, he hit his first 5 shots. He was a factor. He has to be a factor. The big 3 of the bench is Dedmon, Hero, and Morris. If you get something out of them, your quality 8 deep. Max Strus again had some of his moments. You like to see that also as we wait for Victor Oladipo. This bench can be good without Victor. This bench potentially can be great with Victor. So you're buying time to a degree. But I've seen enough from each of those 3 reserves, of which I had questions about all of them going into camp and going into the season. So far, so good. Yet, all of that said, think about how the equation changes when Kyle Lowry's not in there. That Gabe Vincent, who doesn't play last night, all of a sudden is starting in the game in Indy. So again, they have good backup on the wing. Tyler Hero could be a shooting guard, even a small forward. He could play bigger. They have good backup in the power swing rotation because Markieff could be a 3, Markieff could be a 4. They have good backup at center because you have Dwayne Dedmon. But at point guard, it just all goes sideways. It goes back to what we started this segment with, that there's not an easy transition. Look, I'm not saying I want the Heat to say Jimmy Butler's out, but I could deal with Tyler Hero starting. I don't want to hear that PJ Tucker is out, but I'll deal with Markieff Morris starting. I know it's a different approach when Bam Adebayo is out, but Dwayne Dedmon's been an NBA starting center during his career. But when Kyle Lowry's out, and he will be again, he's 35 years old, there's just not an answer. I just don't know what direction they go. Do they start Tyler? Do they tell Jimmy from the outset, you're the ball handler? Is there something else? Marcus Garrett's not ready. I know Jeff Teague's a minus player. I'm not saying he isn't. But I know when you put a veteran player out there, it coalesces a lot better than forcing Gabe Vincent, mostly a spot-up shooter, to be a point guard. Really weird. I respect the hell out of Pat Riley in his roster building, and Andy Ellisberg, and Adam Simon, and down the line, Eric Amsler and all their other scouts. I just don't get this point guard thing. It's like you. It's an innate position when you go to the Senior Bowl and you see the converted wide receivers becoming quarterbacks, and how long it took Ryan Tannehill to finally find his inner quarterback. It took years because it's an innate position. I just don't get how they don't get that there's not even look at like an Ish Smith type of guy. He's been on 75 teams, but he's helped all 75 teams. That's all I ask. Get me a guy who you can tell, look, you may not play at all this week if Kyle Lowry's healthy. But if he calls in with the flu, bad COVID test, someone like that, you're going to be our starter. There are guys like that. The luxury tax makes it harder. It still is doable. I would like to see something sooner rather than later. Maybe John Wall later, maybe a trade later. They always do something at the deadline. But right now, like I'm saying, when you asked about the depth, I can back up every single box except for one.
Walk us through this, because obviously we're not as smart as you in knowing all the rules. But KZ Okpala is basically dead space on this team. But he has guarantees, unfortunately,
for the rest of the
Heat are tied to. So there's no way of getting out of that contract, shipping it out somewhere to.
You can. Absolutely.
And then try to filter, remember 2 years ago when the Dolphins were picking on everybody's practice squads?
Sure.
Well, the Heat should use that spot to try to keep finding a damn point guard somewhere.
No, and I agree with that, but there's a cost. And the cost so far shown in similar salary dumps has been cash and a future second-round pick. The Heat don't have a lot of future second-round picks, depending on how the NBA tampering investigation, which is never-ending, goes.
And they've spent 3 on this kid already.
Right. They might lose another one. They can do this. They can trade him into a team that has room under the cap, maybe even under the salary floor, like Oklahoma City, and attach a few $1,000,000, you get up to $5 million a year to send out in trades, and they couldn't make it work that way. You know that Oklahoma City holds up the Heat for everything. They held him up for the draft choice. They held him up when they traded Myers Leonard to unload him last year. They held him up that they want to make them pay to unlock the lottery protected pick. But Oklahoma City right now is below the salary floor. So basically, if they don't pay a player, they have to just give the money to the rest of their roster. So I do think that is doable and that he can talk their way into it. But right now, Sam Presti's playing hardball because his team's not looking to win. So it doesn't matter to him. But that is, to me, the best avenue right there. Unless, and please, I'm not saying this, you convince UD to walk away and you tell him, you know what, UD? We're going to have UD night early. We're going to have it on December 13th. It's going to be spectacular. And then after that, you're going to announce that this is the moment you've been waiting for, back with fans in the crowd, after COVID, a full arena, to have your Dwayne Wade-like moment. And then the spot becomes available right away. That's not happening. But there are avenues to this roster. Oh, like we've been saying, they're only carrying 14 instead of 15 because of the luxury tax. But Udonis doesn't play. KZ can't play. And for a while, Victor Oladipo won't play because of his quadricep surgery. So you're really on that tight razor of only having maybe 11. If you don't think Yurtseven is ready, maybe just 10 players available for you. That's a tightrope right now in this COVID climate.
Yeah, I like Yurtseven. I'd find minutes for him.
Yes,
one way or another.
I would not let him go. You know what?
First half to get him ready for the second half, just in case somebody gets injured.
In retrospect, if they could have signed him to the two-way contract, then they would have had this roster spot. But let's face it, though. Matter of fact, I'll have you be a GM. After those 2 games in Sacramento, you remember Summer League when he was like 30 and 18. Yeah. And he came to him and said, you know what? We're going to offer you a two-way contract. You're going to make $435,000 instead of instead of $1 million. But another team offered a standard deal. The Heat were rock and a hard place. It's almost like he was almost too good for their good. Then they couldn't hide him anymore. The perfect world would have been Yurtseven gets a second two-way, not Marcus Garrett. He goes to Sioux Falls. And then you have an extra roster spot. Maybe it's for Jeff Teague. Maybe it's for Wesley Matthews. Maybe it's for James Ennis. But you can get another contributor. But you know what? Sometimes your hand is forced also. And you know what? If Yurtseven becomes the player that you and I think he might be, then you don't want to have that guy walk and all of a sudden he becomes another team's Patrick Beverley.
Yeah, no, definitely not. You definitely don't want something like that happening. All right, Ira, what are you working on the South Florida Sun Sentinel so our listeners can check you out, my friend?
Just posted a story about the crazy situation, how the Heat are flying into a storm because of the weather, but they're also flying into a storm in Brooklyn because of the Kyrie Irving thing, cannot play in New York by their mandates, and the James Harden thing, this new crackdown on players trying to draw fouls to get to the foul line, which is the story of James Harden's career. He was, I think, 6th last season in free throws attempted per game. He'll go into the Heat game 63rd in the league in free throws attempted per game. They're not buying his BS anymore. Again, and I watched this on NBA TV, Sam Mitchell was talking about it. If he drives to try to score and gets fouled, they'll call it. But if he's playing just to draw the foul, they're not calling it anymore. And they shouldn't call it anymore because that's not part of the sport. You're a huge soccer fan, Big O. You know how there's been a crackdown in the Premier League. If you're going to flop just to get a yellow card or maybe a PK, they're not calling it, and they're going to give you the yellow card now. Right. Unlike some South American leagues where flopping and Messi is still the thing. So the NBA is cracking down. So basically what they're telling James Harden is play basketball. If you play basketball, you'll get the whistle. And the contrast to that, Big O, is Jimmy Butler right now is 6th in the NBA in free throws per game because he draws contact, because he goes through you and tries to score, because he doesn't flail 17 different limbs in one time.
No, yes, he seeks the contact.
Yes. Like Eric Spoelstra had a great line in Indy the other day. He says, every time Jimmy gets contact, it's like a mini car crash. And it sort of is like Dwayne Wade, the fall 19 times, get up 20 kind of thing. So I sort of contrasted how Brooklyn has to deal with the absence of a star and a star no longer getting his way. So I think it'll be an interesting game tomorrow night for the Heat in Brooklyn. I'll be talking with Clay Ferraro in our Pallet Rock City Inside the Paint show tomorrow about that. So that's posted at sunsentinel.com. I'm going to have a story later in the day about how the Heat's reserves are coming through. But interesting times. Again, 3-1 would feel a hell of a lot better than 2-2. So sort of a big game. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, it always feels good because when you're going to Brooklyn and you're going to that arena, You've been to juniors, right?
Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but the juniors that's right by that arena is the only juniors that has cornbread. And that cornbread is the best cornbread on the planet. All right. I don't know do you like cornbread?
I do like cornbread. Usually when I go to juniors, I stay more on the Jewish kosher side of the menu. But if you're gonna add a little Southern tilt, I can get into that. Yeah.
I get that. I totally understand. Okay, there's lots of great things on the juniors menu. But if you ever get to go again, try the cornbread. Okay?
Hey, I'm
try the
all
cornbread.
for the cornbread.
Every time I go to a concert there, I always go to juniors to go have some food, and I gotta have a cornbread.
It is a Winderman Thanksgiving staple. I will keep that in mind. Thank you, Big O.
All right, be good. Thank you, Ira. Appreciate you. Follow him on Twitter, by the way, at Ira Heatbeat. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, more importantly, subscribe to the Sun Sentinel and support my man Ira and all the great journalists that are there on that newspaper. That is our Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig's Inn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
All right, there you go. For those of you on the podcast, you're not understanding it because you got to watch it to see it. No big deal. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. As always, Ira Winderman, great stuff, great insight. Always appreciate it. Let me see what's going on with Shiva. Shiva's still, it's at 47. It's at 0.00047. It's pretty damn good, dude. That is pretty good. It's up right now 17%. Polygon is up 8.7%. It's up at $1.84, man. V-Chain's been making a move. It's up to 14 cents now. It's going to be climbing. I like it. Yes. What else do we have going on here? All right. We got to get let's give you my NBA picks, because I did not do it yesterday. I forgot to give I gave my NFL picks, which, by the way, just so we can for transparency purposes, I failed yesterday in our NFL picks. I took the Saints -4, and they won by 3. The damn people in Vegas are so good. I mean, really, we had a chance. It could have been a contender. I could have gone 5-0 on the week. We went 4-1 on the week. With the loss, it drops us to 20-23-1. So we're starting to get out of that hole that we were in. We were in a major hole. So 4-1 on the weekend. We lose that one. All right, NBA, we are 9-6 right now against the spread. So we're doing all right. We're 3 over 500. We got a couple of bets that we love today in the NBA slate. First of all, Lakers are taking on San Antonio. Lakers are favored by 4.5. I think the Lake Show is going to do a little running and gunning today. I like them by 6 or 7 points against San Antonio. San Antonio is solid because Pops is solid, but still, I'm not buying San Antonio like some great basketball team. The Lakers are the ones that have the superstars on it. They got to go out there and play like the superstars that they are. San Antonio, by the way, has lost 2 in a row. They're 1-2. The Lake Show, they are also 1-2, but they won their last game. So I think the Lakers today, I'm going to lay the 4.5. I think they end up getting the victory. Houston and Dallas. Dallas is favored by 10.5 points. It's a lot of points. Dallas has been a little inconsistent. They're 1-1 on the season. I'm going to go with the over and under here. It's 221.5. The one thing I do know is there's not a lot of defense that's going to be played on the court tonight. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored on the floor tonight. I'm going to go over 221.5, Houston and Dallas. Philadelphia is at New York. You know that the Sixers are so far 2-0 on the road, 0-1 at home. The Knicks are also playing really well. I think they're 2-1, or yes, they are 2-1. Knicks have played well. Now they are at home. They're in New York. You know what? I'm going to go with the Road Warriors. I'm going to go with the Sixers. And the Knicks are favored by 1.5 in this one. I'm going to go with Philly. I'm going to take the 1.5 in this one. I think they're going to win the game, actually, in New York. So take the Sixers plus 1.5. Golden State taking on the aforementioned Oklahoma City. We were just talking about that with Ira, and Oklahoma City and possibly Miami and Oklahoma City, maybe dumping KZ Okpala on them, giving them a little cash, all that. Oklahoma City's bad. They're 0-3. Golden State's really good. They're 3-0, and they're not even 100% yet. They've got +7 on the point differential. Oklahoma City, -22 on the point differential. They are averaging 93 points a game. The Warriors are averaging 118. Guess what I'm doing? I'm laying the 9 points. Because if one team's playing and averaging 118, the other one's averaging 93, you do the math. Let's lay the 9. Let's go. Oklahoma City isn't a great defensive team either. Lay the 9. Go Golden State against OKC. These are the picks. Lakers -4.5 against San Antonio. Over 221.5 Houston and Dallas. Give me Philly +1.5 at New York. Give me Golden State -9 at Oklahoma City. Those are the selections in tonight's NBA slate. Our number 2 is next.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what it means. Monday to Friday, Scotty Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard at Pembroke Pines.
Show O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go, Miami, that's the way we roll.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk...
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Live and direct, because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live.
When you're ready to purchase a new home or refinance the one you have, American Dream Lending will make sure your loan experience is easy with fast approvals and quick closings. With many loan programs and competitive rates, now is the time to turn your dreams into reality. Ask about special financing for veterans. They never charge an application fee, and you will work directly with one of their experienced loan professionals. Stop dreaming and contact American Dream Lending today, 786-802-1727, or online at adreamlending.com.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Welcome aboard hour number 2 of the program. Hope you all are doing well out there. We carry you, of course, till about 1 o'clock. Looking forward to it. Going to have a good night tonight. I'm actually going to go out to Runway 84 tonight to have a little dinner. So have a little Italian food. Looking forward to that. Hanging out with some friends. So it's going to be fun. Today we got the Dolphins getting ready for the Buffalo week. Remember, we're going to be out at Sports Grill. This is our last Sports Grill appearance in Miami Lakes for this season. Remember, we told you we were going to do the first 8 games in Miami Lakes. I can't believe, seriously, this is 8 games already. It's terrible because half our season's gone and our season's already done. And we're playing for absolutely nothing, which is the worst part about it. We're playing for nothing. We're not even playing for a quarterback. But anyway, so we're getting ready for the Bills week, and we will be over at Sports Grill. Remember, they open at 10 a.m. now because breakfast is open, so they've got brunch going on. So you'll catch me and Sean preparing for the show as we go on at 11 because, they weren't opening till noon, but now they're open at 10 a.m. now. So they're opening at 10 a.m. on Sunday. So if you want to have some breakfast, maybe you want to go back home and watch the game. But hell, go by and have breakfast, hang out with us, say hi, and then leave if you want. But, I encourage you to stay, watch the game, and have some fun with us. I'm there. Sean and myself are there. We're always talking, taking pictures, too, because we're usually taking pictures with the listeners and stuff like that. So come on out, man. Really, I'd love to meet you guys. Listen, we exchange all day, right? We're going back and forth on Twitter, on the text line at 855-912-1056, on the YouTube channel, all over the place. You guys are downloading the show and all that and visiting our sponsors, hitting the like button, all these kind of things that we need. Well, come on out, man. Join us. I would love to meet the people that make this happen. Yesterday, we haven't hit it yet, but we've come close several times. Yesterday was 97,600 downloads. Okay, we were 2,400 downloads away from 100K. We haven't done 100K yet, but we've hit the 90s several times. So thank you yesterday again on behalf of Sean and myself. Another milestone. We crossed 7,000 subscribers on YouTube now as the YouTube channel continues to grow. And thank you all out there. Appreciate all of you out there, as always, for supporting us and helping us grow. This show is growing leaps and bounds every single day. And that's because you guys are just absolutely awesome. And you truly appreciate the talent that is Sean Stanley. Because it's definitely not me. It's definitely all Sean Stanley. But I want to thank you guys for appreciating the great talent that Sean Stanley is. Because I'm just here for the ride. I'm just riding coattails is all I'm doing. So thank you all out there, man. It is absolutely awesome the way you guys have responded. And I thought we were going to hit 100,000 downloads yesterday. I really did. I was like, damn, we're right there. You know what I'm saying? But hey, 97,600 downloads. I'll take. We're happy. We're happy. We're well on our way to 7 million now. We're close to we are moving, man. It is just absolutely awesome to see the amount of response that we've gotten from all of this. Hey, don't forget, you can also support us by making a donation to Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show is the address. That's Cash Big O Show. It's always preferred there. Hey, listen, you want to do it as super chat? That's fantastic. Not a problem. But as we explained, YouTube takes away 30% of that donation. Whereas on Cash App and Venmo, we get 100% of the donation. So we appreciate all of you out there as always, man. Great stuff. Thank you out there. 855-912-1056 is the text line. That's 855-912-1056. Next hour, we will answer some of your texts. So you can bring them on if you want. Big O, Omar not caring is crap. What kind of a reporter on a team quits on them telling the fan base to give up? Well, actually, Derek, he's not really supposed to be a fan. Technically, he's not supposed to care. Really, he's never really supposed to care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a weird media member. Like, I'm a complete weirdo. Like, I openly tell you that I'm a Dolphins and a Canes and a Panthers and a Heat and a Marlins and an Inter Miami fan, and I'm not going to hide it whatsoever. Now, I'm also going to tell you that if they're not doing well, I'll tell you why they're not doing well, and I'm not going to hide from it, okay? But I'm also never going to tell you, unless it's Jeffrey Loria, don't support this. I did say that during the Marlins time. There was no reason to support Jeffrey Loria whatsoever because that was an evil human being. Okay, we might have had bad owners over the years here. Okay, Billy Cunningham and Louis Chaffel were terrible owners. Rest in peace, both men. I think neither one is with us anymore. Whatever, but I don't wish anything bad. I don't say, but let's just call it like it is. They were terrible owners. All right. Ken Horowitz, who owned the Miami Fusion, terrible owner. Well, Viner meant well, but did not have the resources that he needed in order to lift the Panthers. We've had bad owners over the years. You know what I mean? But bad owners or incompetent owners is one thing. Jeffrey Loria was an evil human being. You know what I mean? That was one person I could never root. I could never support. Hey, Stephen Ross can't get it right, but Stephen Ross is a great man. He's a really good man. His heart is in the right place. He means well. He's a pillar of our community. He saved the damn tennis tournament that nobody was going to save. It would have been gone from this market. He does everything for that football team. He spends, he just needs to hire the right people to run the football team. And I'm still hoping that Greer and Flo can actually figure this damn thing out. But he's a great owner. It's just he hasn't figured it out. Look, Jorge Mas, I think, is a great owner. He screwed up royally. Paul McDonough stuck his foot not just in his mouth, straight down his throat, dude. I mean, they did a lot of stupid ass shit that set them back, but that doesn't mean that Jorge Mas is not a good owner. He's a great effing owner, and he's going to win eventually, and he'll figure it all out because he's driven that way. Now, it ain't going well for him. You know what I mean? He got into the play-in game last year, and then this year they're not going to make the playoffs. And, it's going to be tough for them. Now, they do have a great GM in Chris Anderson. Hopefully he can straighten things out now, find some young guys. But he's a great owner, but he's not a bad person. He's going through a rough patch right now. He's got to figure it out. Okay. Like any of us that start a new business. We restarted this podcast. I've made some mistakes here that I'm trying to figure things out. I'm trying to, build this thing up. You think I'm going to be perfect? No, of course not. I'm going to make mistakes, man. But that's all right if we make mistakes. As long as we acknowledge them, we try to address them, we try to correct them. It's all right if we're not perfect. As long as we mean well and we try to fix everything. But there are certain people that don't deserve your support. Jeffrey Loria was one of those people. So, Omar doesn't have to be, in love with the Dolphins. He doesn't have to cheer the Dolphins. And if it's his opinion to tell you that you should give up on him too, well, then that's his opinion. Doesn't mean you have to give up on him. Doesn't mean I'm going to give up on him. Doesn't mean I'm not going to. No matter what, I'm going to watch the Dolphins. No matter what, I'm going to root on the Dolphins. No matter what, I want them to win. No, I understand. They kind of screw themselves year in, year out, and they don't end up getting where they need to go. Just like the Marlins have done that to themselves now. Just like the Panthers for many years until Bill Zito now took over. Looks like he finally he was the guy that needed to figure everything out and put it together. It's not easy, man. It's not easy. But these are good people trying to win. And that's why I'm always going to be supportive also of the Dolphins. Wayne Huizenga meant well, man. It didn't work out with Saban, and it didn't work out with Parcells, and it didn't work out with Jimmy. But Wayne meant well. And so has Stephen Ross. They mean well. They want to win. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And when we had a baseball owner that wasn't willing to do anything to win, I appreciate that. When we had owners like Viner, who did not have the resources, he wanted to win. He meant well, but he just didn't have the resources. I know what that's like, too. I know what it's like when you're completely incompetent. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're completely lost, and everything is all screwed up in Ken Horowitz with the Miami Fusion. I know what that's like, too. Mickey is a monster, bro. What Mickey did is very Joe Robbie-like in a way, right? Because Robbie had Young for a very short amount of time, Wilson, I'm sorry, for a very short amount of time, and then went and got Shula, and the rest is history. Mickey took over, and dude, in the first hire he made, he knocked it out of the park with Riley. It's hard to find those kind of guys, man. It's really hard to find those kind of guys hanging around that you can hire that one dude that knows how to turn everything around and create a culture. Not only that, Riley's so phenomenal because his tree was very good. Jeff Van Gundy was a good coach. Stan Van Gundy's a good coach. Spo's a great coach. And other things have come from that tree that have moved on to other places in personnel and in coaching. So, that's magical what's happened with the Miami Heat. It's hard, man. It's not easy. It's not easy, but Stephen Ross means well. Okay? Don't worry about Omar. Omar's got to cover it every day, so he's kind of frustrated. Let's see. Yesterday, you trashed me. You said, I don't know effing about football. Here's a fact. Tua has thrown the ball 500 times, his longest touchdown, 37 yards. Richard, you still sound like a complete idiot. You sound like a complete asshat. When you have no line, dude, you can't pass deep. You're making the situation even worse because now you're sounding totally ignorant that you don't understand what I'm saying. You can't pass deep if you can't drop back and wait for the play to develop, Richard. He can be in this offense and throw 8,000 times. If you're going to play behind the same sorry-ass offensive line that has no running game, you're going to get killed. You can't call deep calls. You can't go deep. You can't wait. Obviously, you're not playing with broken ribs. So, Richard, I told you yesterday, and I'll tell you again, you don't know shit about football. And you know what's worse? You're not willing to learn. So you just want like another like tongue lashing, I guess. Because all you did was like spew pure ignorance there. You still don't get it. If you don't have an offensive line, you can't go deep. It just makes it impossible. You got a guy already playing with broken ribs. What are you going to do? Put him at risk even more? No. Kid's got to drop back and get rid of the ball immediately. Man. Tell you, Richard, I appreciate that you're listening to the show and you're on every day, but dude, learn something at least. I learn sometimes from you guys and from other people, and I adjust and I correct myself. And if I make a mistake, and if I was wrong, what did I say yesterday? Now that we think about it, right? Maybe Minka was right. While we were bitching and complaining about Minka not being flexible, well, maybe it's the coach that's inflexible. Richard, you have to learn to adjust, my brother. You have to understand that what you're saying sometimes is wrong. So you've got to look at it the other way. Man. Oh, what bands are the current Finns? The infighting of Oasis, the all-out hype of T-Rex, trying so hard and smelling like Creed, Ace of Base tribute band. Right now they're Milli Vanilli. That's what they are. They're singing, but it's all fake. It's all done by somebody else, baby. They're lip syncing out there right now. That's what the Dolphins are right now. They're Milli Vanilli is what they are. Okay? Stealing money lip syncers. X is stealing money like a lip syncer. Byron Jones stealing money like a lip syncer. Jalen Phillips stealing money like a lip syncer. You get what I'm saying? Austin Jackson stealing money like a lip syncer. Oh, Jerome Baker stealing truckloads of money like a lip syncer. Yeah, let's label the Dolphins Milli Vanilli. That's what they are. And Doug, don't you know it's true? Who? Ah, there you go. Not bad on the fly. Not a bad response on the fly. That's what you got to do in radio. You got to ad lib because you never know what's coming your way. Big O, what are we using to buy and trade crypto? Money? I don't know. What other answer is there? I'm not exactly sure. What'd you think we were using, dude? Oh, Diane says all of us are wrong to some degree. Adjust with more knowledge. Minka looking like a sage. LOL. Exactly. That's exactly it, Diane. We got to adjust, man. We're human beings, which means we are going to screw up a lot. But when we screw up, we got to, okay, and if you're richer, you got to go, well, maybe he's right. Maybe there's some logic that if he has a 5 or 7 step drop because he's waiting for a long play to develop, normally our tackles can't hold that. Oh, and by the way, as you drop back, the angle to get to the quarterback is a lot more direct, Richard. When you're in a 3, you got to go around, but when you're in a 5 or 7, it's direct. Offensive line, challenge, blocking, mathematics, Richard. Any hope? Bueller. Big O, the Dolphins better not trade Tua and X for a 3rd-round pick like Brandon Marshall. When I read that story that he's now opened, sources say he's now opened up his options. There's a part of me that was like, wow, the Dolphins even screwed this up now because they have made themselves look so dysfunctional. I want you to think about this, okay? No matter what Deshaun Watson is trying to do, maybe his agent also sat down and reminded him of this because I don't think some of you are even thinking about this. It's so easy to think about, well, Deshaun Watson, is he thinking about what a disaster this team is right now? Is he thinking about he has no quarterbacks coach here? He has no real offensive coordinator here. He has no real offensive line coach. He has no real reliable receivers outside of Jalen Waddle, and he does have a good tight end in Gesicki. But that's it. He doesn't have a running game. So why would I want to go there? And then here's the other thing that Deshaun Watson has to think of. He has to be smart about this. He has to also think, look at the way they're treating the current quarterback. So what happens with me if something goes a little bit awry? How are they going to treat me? And if they're willing to, see, the thing about what you're doing to Tua, okay, this is the other part of the equation now that you guys got to think about all of this. What you're doing to Tua then reflects to everybody else in the locker room. Because if you're willing to openly just go out and negotiate and try to trade for somebody else while you're telling your current quarterback, hey, yeah, no, listen, you do your job. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're trying to trade for him. Yeah, we're trying to replace you. Yeah. But you be a professional and you stay there. So if you're willing to treat the quarterback that way, the most important position on the team, how do you think the defensive end feels? How do you think the defensive tackle feels? How do you think the guard feels? How do you think the center feels? How do you feel the free safety, the corner, the long snapper? How do you think they feel? Holy shit, they're going to treat the quarterback that way? I'm screwed. And Jimmy Johnson had this saying, I forgot how it goes exactly, but it's something along the lines, you don't treat everybody the same. And he's right. You don't treat Marino the same way you treat, J.B. Brown. It's 2 different players. You're not going to treat Jason Taylor the same way you're going to treat James "You Blew It" Pruitt. You understand what I'm saying? Brought back an old name for some of you guys out there, huh? So just, they got to be wondering as players, like, wow, these guys are playing this effing game with the quarterback. And out of all positions on the team, that's not the position you F with, dude. That's not the position that you tell them we don't believe in you. That's not the position that you tell people, hey, it's just another guy. It's open competition. It's this. You don't play with that position. You just don't do that. Deshaun Watson has to think about that. Ricardo Kuchikian, thank you, sir. A lot of love on the super chat there. Thank you. Says, Big O, why trade for Watson and mortgage future? Go for 2 vets, offensive line, vet linebacker, get rid of Parker, let Tua develop, and get a QB, get the VG QB he'll be. Get rid of Parker, Wilson, Williams, Baker, and Ford. Oh, and $10 million for 8 games of Fuller. Dude, the problem with you, Ricardo, is, dude, you make too much sense. All you're doing now, if you trade for Watson, you're going to give up a boatload of picks. You don't have what he needs to succeed. So now what are you going to do now? If you're going to give up resources to get him, how are you going to get what you need? And if these picks over the last 2 years don't develop, then that becomes a real problem for you. And then you've got to go out and buy it. And you've already now inherited a quarterback with a major salary. Now, you didn't have to give him the signing bonus. Houston gave him the signing bonus. That's good. But you still have to pay the salary every year, which is a major salary now from here on out, something you're not paying with Tua right now for the next 3 more years. So now you become less flexible by acquiring Watson. You have less flexibility because you've given up resources to get Watson. And if the current players you have do not develop, then you do not have what Watson needs in order to succeed around him. So where do you get to, Ricardo? You get nowhere. Beautiful text, my brother. And obviously, thank you so much for the love on the super chat. That is very, very kind of you. And that helps us grow. I appreciate you immensely, my friend. Thank you. It's logic, man. I mean, Tua has shown enough for me in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I kind of like him already as it is. You know, I only worry about his injuries. And that's why I would draft monsters and sign monsters in front of him. And I would build one hell of a wall. And then I'd kill you after that. Because Tua's going to pick you apart. And if you give him time, then he'll go deep and he'll make Richard happy because he'll end up going deep and he'll get it done and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I that's what I would do. But what can I tell you, man? You know? Ricardo, you bring logic to the table, my friend. Dougie Fresh says, Big O, damn, you sang Milli Vanilli for sports commentary. Nobody else can do this, people. Girl, you know it's true. Who? I love you. I do love you, Miami. I love you, Miami Dolphins. You just don't love me back. That's all. That's the problem with the Dolphins. We all love those of us that it's our favorite team. We all love the Dolphins. They just don't want to love us back, man. That's all it is. And man, yeah, you know it's true. Big O, will Miami's O-line be able to contain the Bills' defense this time? Do you need me to answer that question? Man, if you thought Tua was getting rid of the ball quickly the last 2 weeks, hey, wait till Sunday. It's snap release. It's a half-step drop is what he's going to take against the Bills. Snap, boom, snap, boom. It's gone. He's not going to hold that ball for half. Now, if it's up to Richard, you know, he wants Tua taking a 12-step drop, holding the ball for 10 seconds, even though by the 4th second, he's 6 feet under the ground. But, you know, Richard wants that. You know, Richard wants those 7-step drops, wait for that long-ass play to develop, so that way those Bills defensive linemen can bust right through and run right over Tua. You know what I'm thinking? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think Richard is a plant. I think he's a Jet fan because who else would? No, it's not like there's 50 people here on the chat board complaining, saying, yes, I want Tua holding onto the ball longer and throwing deeper. Most everybody understands it. Tua can't do that because he'll get killed. I think he's a plant. I think he's a Bills or a Jets fan or something like that, and he's just trying to stick it to us. He wants Tua to like completely break down. I think that's what's going on. Mr. Spock says, I'm so tired of Williams dropping passes or on the injury list with Fuller, Parker, Wilson. Like, do we have the strength and conditioning program or these guys are made of glass? I'm going to go with the latter. Mr. Spock, that's what it is, dude. Devontae Parker is just fragile. Preston Williams is just fragile. Will Fuller is fragile. That's it. That's all it is, man. Miami's got fragile wide receivers. Has nothing to do with the conditioning program. Doesn't affect Jerome Baker. Doesn't affect Myles Gaskin, who's in a position of contact. The linemen play every week. Doesn't affect the D linemen. These receivers are breaking down because their bodies weren't made for this game. That's all. Devontae Parker cannot play this game at a high level healthy. Will Fuller cannot play this game at a high level healthy. Their bodies do not hold up. And unfortunately, this is why they had to keep 87 receivers, because they kept 87 receivers that are constantly injured. So it's not anything to do with the conditioning program. It has to do with your decision of keeping players that you should not be keeping. I mean, you want to take a chance on one of them? Fine. You want to take a chance on 4 of them? Come on, man. 4 of your receivers are injury-prone receivers? 5, actually, if you kept Jakeem, but you got rid of Jakeem, so now you're down to Albert Wilson, Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and Preston Williams. 4 guys that are constantly injured. And they're constantly injured, so why would you be surprised? Has nothing to do with training. Has nothing to do with that, because there's plenty of players playing. Those guys, just their bodies are not tough enough for this sport. And it takes a special person to stay healthy in this league. And you need a little luck too, obviously. And they either aren't tough enough and they don't have the luck. Guaranteed. Big O, have you noticed something lately around the NFL? There's more young offensive coaches that are having more success as opposed to young defensive coaches. That said, we go get Bieniemy as head coach. And you know what? It might be good and it might be bad. We don't know. Can Eric Bieniemy build his own staff? Is he ready to be a head coach? He's an offensive coordinator. So do you want a rookie coach to be also the coordinator and the head coach? Then that takes away his ability to be the head coach because he's got to worry about the offense constantly. How do you handle that? And so if you take Bieniemy away from what he is currently considered really good at, is offensive coordinator, well, then what are you doing as a head coach? How good will he be as a head coach? Do you know if he's going to be good? It's just a name. There's no guarantees. There's more of a guarantee that in 2 or 3 years we'll be complaining about Eric Bieniemy and we'll want him sleeping with Bieniemy. Although now that I think about it, Deshaun Watson sleeps around and, he's available. The Dolphins have a wife and they still want to sleep around with somebody else, right? And then Eric Bieniemy, his nickname has been all about sleeping with Bieniemy. So maybe it all kind of, maybe it all works. There's like some, cheating and connection with everything there. You might be onto something there. Charles Clay was my guy. Seems like he was a wasted talent. Charles Clay played small, dude. He had speed, didn't have great hands, but he was a tight end that played small. I know his agent well, and so one night we're at the combine, and we're at a get together. Let's just say at a penthouse in one of the hotels in Indy. And we were there till like 5 a.m. drinking. There were some at this point, there are former head coaches in the NFL. There were a couple of personnel guys. There were a couple of big time agents, and I think I was one of two reporters in the get together. Everybody else was kind of NFL personnel, and it was about say about 20 of us, I would say, in that big old giant suite that they had upstairs. And everybody's drinking, having a good time and all that. So I get his agent and I'm talking to him and I go to him, "Hey man, what is it about Charles? Why does he play small?" And dude, he got so defensive because apparently he had that part of the negotiation came from the team when they signed him, Buffalo, actually. And so he was like, I had to go through this with the Bills, and that's not true. And I go, well, that's how he plays. He doesn't go up in the air a lot. He doesn't play big. He waits for the ball to come to him, and it was one of those. And I think that's what also shortened his career. His hands weren't consistent, and he played small for a tight end. He wasn't good playing in the air, which was the weirdest thing in the world. That, if you're a tight end, you got to learn to play in the air. You got to have body control, and Charles Clay was just not that guy, and he played small. So I disagree with you. I agree he had some physical talents because the speed was pretty special for his position, but he was a guy that didn't bring another dimension to the table and didn't play bigger. And I always thought that set him back a little bit in his career. Chris Roden says, time to bring back Todd Bowles and Casey Rogers. At least we have an identity on defense. Plus, it would be Bowles' second go around as a coach. One would think he could build a good staff. Chris, you said the key word, think. Doesn't mean he will, because Todd Bowles was a terrible head coach. So, you see what I'm saying? There's nothing that you can go out there and suggest and that we're all going to say, oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah, Pat Riley will. Oh, hell yeah. Pat Riley will take this franchise over the top. When you say you're hiring Riley, you're like, oh, shit, it's on. There's nobody right now that you could go and is available and it's realistic and you hire that person, you go, oh, it's on. Now we got our guy. Oh, yeah. Why? Because it doesn't exist. There isn't a guy out there that's proven. There isn't a guy out there that kind of shows you like, oh, man, this is the guy right now. You've got to get him. Doesn't exist. It's all a gamble. Every one of them. It might make you feel better to say, well, no, Doug Peterson will get it done. No, I'm telling you. No, I know this. I know for sure Doug Peterson will get it done. No, some guy told me Rex Ryan, give him another chance. I'm like, come on, dude. I get it. It makes you feel good, the selection you're saying. Louis Riddick will be a great GM. Because he looks good on the air. He has some great sound bites, all that. Although yesterday when he was describing Jamal Adams on that deep shot, he did nothing on that play. Kenny Stills dropped that ball, by the way. Just want to tell Louis Riddick while he was trying to brag about Jamal. And Jamal Adams is a good player, don't get me wrong. But on that play, Jamal Adams did jack shit. And he's like, oh, you see Jamal Adams got there and this and that, and you watch the replay, Kenny Stills dropped the deep ball. Which, by the way, somebody that follows on Twitter had a great line. That's what Kenny Stills does in Seattle. He drops deep balls. That was a great line. I forgot who mentioned it yesterday, but that was an effing great line. That was fantastic. I love that. Jeremy Dorsett says, Big O, I would release all 4 injury-prone receivers on the team by this offseason. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Bringing back any of those guys. No, you should be cutting those guys. I would cut Preston Williams. I would cut Albert Wilson on the spot already. And then I'd look at Will Fuller and say, one more injury and you're gone. That's it. And then Devontae Parker, I'll wait till the end of the year because Devontae can at least find a way to get on the field at times, and he'll help you. But then at the end of the year, you need to part ways with him. He might be the only guy that I would keep for the rest of the year just because you can't cut them all. But I'd be cutting 2 of them right now. DM Fins Up says, Big O, Flores ain't it. Hey, DM, nobody's going to argue with you right now, man. You know. We should bring back is the Cirque du Soleil coming back? Because, I mean, I know the circus is already there because Brian Flores is under the big top. I'm just wondering. I mean, it is apropos because the Dolphins are back to being a clown show. I would take the Bills OC right now. Well, maybe Brian Daboll could be the guy, and maybe not. Maybe he's just an OC. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that we don't know. Oh, what's your theory on why Haslam is still on the team and Riley hasn't told him it's time to retire? I think they like a guy that polices the locker room, and he's done it for a long time, and he's kind of a coach / player on the bench. And I think they like that. Spo is an exceptional coach. I don't think he's a motivator. I think he's an exceptional X's and O's, cerebral coach, that kind of thing. But I don't think he's a lot about the rah-rah stuff. And something tells me that UD adds that rah-rah stuff inside that locker room. Spo prepares you and mentally and physically and athletically, you're going to be more than prepared for your game that night. And on the cerebral side, he's going to give you an advantage because he's going to design plays and defenses to help you succeed out there. And as a player, you're going to love playing for him because you're going to be at your best because of him. But in those key moments that you might need a lift emotionally and those kind of things, Riley was very good at that. I don't think that's Spo's strength. I think that's why they keep UD around a little bit, because he's the guy that rattles cages. You know what I'm saying? And where I think Spo will rip you and those kind of things. That's what I think he does. I think he does a good job of ripping people because I'm told that behind the scenes, he does his share of ripping. Like, you will hear criticism. Doesn't matter who you are. But when it comes to the motivating part, I don't think that's his forte. And I think that's why you have a guy like UD around to do some of that. That's my guess. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, and I'm probably 1,000% wrong. Michael Moorhead says, trading for Watson would be like a dysfunctional married couple bringing in a third party to the bedroom just to spice things up. It ain't going to work. What if that third person is Halle Berry? Huh, Michael? What if the third person is Halle Berry? Would it work out then? Would it spice it up then? Just saying. Just want to run that by some folks out there. You're struggling. You're struggling. I don't care if the team is struggling. So you're struggling in the bedroom, as Joe Namath would say. You bring in Halle Berry. At least one person ain't going to be struggling anymore. That's all I'm saying. Just being honest. All depends on who that third person is, you know. Third person is J-Lo. I don't know. You know, you may not be struggling too much. Rick Kyle says, I don't understand people saying, well, the organization sucks, so who cares if we send off 4 years worth of picks for Watson. I'm with you, man. I'm very nervous about that trade. Although Chuck Cooper goes, maybe Jilly. If Jilly's that third person, you know, the struggles are over. Let's see. What if the third person is Chris Hemsworth, Big O? How would you like that? Well, hey, man, listen. The boat floats in different ways, so different couples are different things. You know what I'm saying? I can't control what goes on in your bedrooms. Maybe some of your bedrooms, it's better for Hemsworth to be in there. And maybe in my bedroom, it's better for Halle Berry. That's all I'm going to say. There's nothing wrong with Hemsworth for, you know, if that's the game you want to play, then, you know, go ahead and play that game. I'm just saying. Now, if J-Lo or, you know, or Halle or Jilly or, you know, somebody else wants to show up, you know, some of us are a little bit more open to that instead. Oh, which culo is for you, J-Lo or Serena? I'm going J-Lo now. Yeah. If you want me to get the Serena bootay, we got to go back to the days of the cat suit. Remember with the cat suit? Anybody remember the cat suit? You guys know what I'm talking about? Let's see. Serena Williams. Cat suit. Okay. Let's go to the cat suit. The early days of the cat suit, by the way. Okay. Got to go with the early days of the cat suit. If you go with the early days of the cat suit, then we're all in. Where is it at? I guess I got the wrong one. Let me see here. Where are we going? Where is this damn cat suit picture? I got one, but it didn't translate over. So I've got to find another one. Okay, let's see if we found it now. Yes, we did. Okay, here we go. So, like I said, it has to be a cat suit. If we go, I'm going J-Lo now, but if we go back to the classic cat suit, then I'll go classic cat suit. Okay? That's how we go. That's how we roll. If we go classic cat suit, then that that Serena, okay. But right now, I'm going J-Lo. Halle Berry on Batman. Ooh, Catwoman. David Triana says, long time away from the show, but finally back. Good to be in the chat again with you all. Thank you, David. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate all of you out there as always. Don't forget, you can send us a little love on the Super Chat and Venmo, on Super Chat or Venmo, and it is, what's it called? Wait a minute. What do we got here? Okay. All right. Hold on a second. I am told to check something here. Where are we at? What are we checking? Barry Jackson is reporting, per source, Dolphins safety Jason McCourty likely needs foot surgery, but is waiting on second opinion. Josh Boyer just called his injury heartbreaking. So Holland Rowe, Brandon Jones, Red Wine, Fendulum at safety moving forward. Well, Holland is the guy anyway, so that should be the guy. I feel bad for the guy, but I want Javon Holland to play anyway. Javon Holland is the future. Jason McCourty is not. So, that's I'm going in that direction. Thank you, Sean, for giving me the heads up on that. Appreciate all of that out there. What else do we have here? Big O, I truly believe this stays. Tua stays a Dolphin and Watson goes to the Niners. No, I don't think he goes to the Niners, dude. I think no. I think they go Aaron Rodgers. No, I disagree. I couldn't disagree with you more, my brother. I think they ride Garoppolo for the rest of the season, and then they obviously slowly try. If they get the kid now back from an injury, they obviously give the kid as much reps this year because that's what they're trying to do. So next year they're moving Garoppolo, and I think what they're trying to do is get Garoppolo through a season without injury and showcasing him. And if they're able to do that, then somebody may trade for Garoppolo, and then they elevate their young guy. If not, then they go Rodgers, and the young guy backs up Rodgers for another year or two, and then Rodgers leaves, and then they can hand the reins off to the guy. But I don't think they bring Tua in after they drafted and traded for the kid. Rodgers maybe, but not there's no way they trade for Watson. I just don't see that happening. I think it'll be Carolina that will try to trade for Watson. Denver apparently is not interested. After all the allegations came out, they kind of backed away and said, yeah, we're going to stay away from it. So, no, I disagree with you. If anything, it's Rodgers next year, and they keep the young kid on ice for another year or two while Rodgers finishes out his career. That's what I think is possible, not Watson. I don't think they want to, and plus they're going to have to give up so much more to get Watson over Rodgers, because Rodgers is a short-term solution, whereas Houston's, trying to trade for you, telling, well, you're going to have him for 10 years, which really, I don't really believe that, but whatever, maybe 6 to 8 years. If he gets to 10, then you're really lucky that he was able to stay healthy and all that kind of stuff. Morning from Colorado, Big O. I'm 31. I've gotten a Culpepper, Marshall, Reggie Bush, Juan not bought it, LOL, Landry, AJ, and now Tua. It's on me, boys. No more jerseys, LOL. Brad, you know how many Dolphin fans are like you, my brother, that they have all kinds of jerseys of players that are no longer here and all that. It's a bunch of them, man. There's a bunch of them. Although the funny part would be they can't trade. They lose out on the Watson deal, and then now they're stuck with Tua. And Rodgers goes to San Francisco. So then they have nothing, and then they got to turn to the kid and say, oh, well, we've loved you from the start. That kind of stuff. Let's see. Big O Pat Riley would never trade Hanley, Ramirez, and Brandon Marshall for nothing unless they have a plan in place. Ireland, Beinfest, Samson, Laurie, and Hill are all evil. I'm not going to put what's it called? Beinfest in that place, and Ireland was irresponsible. I don't know about an evil person. Samson and Loria, and Hill's not an evil dude, bro. You may not be happy with his work or whatever. You may like him, not like him, but he's not an evil person. Loria was evil, and the stepson was too. But hey, people love bringing him on their shows. I mean that part. Yeah. I'm never that desperate to want to bring that guy on the show. Maybe Flores can attract quality coaches under his staff. It's possible the fallout from Gailey, O'Shea, Flattery, Minka, that word is out that he is toxic. Well, not only that, and after this season, you end up on the hot seat. So then even good coaches are going to say, no, dude, no. A young coach that starts to prove themselves, they'll take the job because there's only 32 of them, So that's different. But a proven coach, they're not going to – I've seen this whole scenario play out. And if they come back and they're on the so-called hot seat, it just They really need to finish strong in this season. But if they continue on this path, you know what's going to happen. If they bring them all back, which I probably think they do bring both guys back, you know what happens? It's a whole prove it year, and if not, you're gone. And I've seen this story before, and I know how it ends. Sucks. Big O, you were very happy with all the moves from the front office until they fall. Now it's easy to criticize and make changes. Playing the result, give time to fix mistakes. We all make mistakes. George, have I said to fire them yet? Are you listening? I never said to fire them yet. I keep saying I'm hoping that they change it. I hope that they figure it out, dude. Pay attention. Listen to the show. And what else is there to be? Also, you gotta, George, you gotta complain. You gotta criticize. We can't sit here and be happy with the offensive line play. We can't sit here and be happy with the way X is playing. We can't sit here and be happy with the way Jerome Baker is playing. We have to criticize. We have to rip. But at no point have I said, fire Greer and fire Camflo. Now, is there a clown show going on right now? Yeah. Have they mismanaged this? Hell yeah. But I haven't said at one point to fire them yet. So I'm not sure what you're listening. That's the problem with some of you out there. You actually listen to the show, but you're not really paying attention. And then you go off and, oh, well, Big O wants to fire everybody. And I never said that. In fact, I'm constantly criticized by people because I'm not saying that. Oh, come on, oh, how do you not want to fire Flo? Oh, come on, oh, how do you not want to fire Greer? What are you, a cheerleader for him? That's what I keep getting. And that, you know what? That I understand. I don't understand your text when you say, well, you criticize, easy to criticize now, and you want to make changes and all that. I never said I want to make any changes at any point. But we can be critical. We will be critical. Whether it's the punter, whatever it is, whatever weak play we see throughout the team, we have to be critical. They are 1-6, my man. What is there to brag about? Some of you have to like really pay attention and listen to what I'm saying. Let's see. Have you gone to their games? Dolphin is asking me. Dolphin, what do I do every Sunday, my brother? Where am I every Sunday, Dolphin? Are you watching this? Do you know what I do for a living? Okay, let's see the questions we've gotten today. How with what are you buying crypto? And do I go to the games? And there was one more earlier today. I forgot, that was really weird. I forgot what it was. A dolphin-like question that was asked. There, you guys have laid some real doozies on me right now. Big O, I have a feeling Fuller's heart is not in it. You mean he can't tape his finger together and at least be a decoy out there? Ian from Brooklyn. Ian, maybe he is really legitimately injured, but guess what, dude? You, sir, have all the reason to feel that way, that you don't trust him. Because that's what he has shown you. He shows you like a player that, well, you know, you do want to get a new contract, right? You know you are making $10 million. You know the team needs help, and you're not out there. So it makes it seem like maybe he has checked out. Some people tell me, well, he's waiting for Watson. He was expecting Watson to be here eventually. Like he signed here, and Watson told him, hey, go there, bro. I'll be there eventually. I'm only waiving my no trade clause to go there. Now he sees what a shit show it is, and he's like, yeah, I'll go to Carolina too. And here's Will Fuller going, yo, you told me you would come here. Too many player relationships broken now. How can Tua trust Flo again? Is the trade if the trade doesn't happen, both Flo and Greer have to go now. See what I mean? Plenty of people want him fired. Big O Ireland was a jackass in Miami, but yet in New Orleans, he's doing it. He's doing good. It's straightened as a Dolphin fan. Jeremy, I guess you've missed the segments where I've talked to you. All of the Dolphin coaches that have been here the last 20 years, not one of them has gotten another head coaching job and done good. Meanwhile, Dennis Hickey, who didn't do a bad job here actually, but got thoroughly ripped because he was part of all the crappy climate that was there, is in Buffalo and is their national scout and succeeding. Okay, he's been there for several years now. So they obviously love his work. Jeff Ireland is considered the main person in the draft the last 4 years, I think 5 years. And New Orleans has had excellent success in the draft over the last few years. And they attribute it mostly to Jeff Ireland. And then Rick Spielman was here and was in the middle of a political war with Wanstead and everything else, went to Minnesota, then became the general manager a couple years in, and since then has done an excellent job outside of the quarterback position. But he's built offenses and defenses, and his teams have gone to the playoffs several times. The weirdest thing that's happened in the Dolphin dynamic over the last 20 years, the personnel guys, several of them now, have gone on to succeed in personnel in other places. The head coaches that were here, not one ever took another job and was successful as a head coach. Just think about that. So it goes to show you that in all those situations, the personnel person was not really the issue. It was the politics that polluted the environment. Wanstead fighting with Spielman for power and all that stuff, and it's Ireland and Sperano and Ireland and Philbin and the redheaded woman in the way and Parcells and all that kind of stuff that was involved in all of that. And Hickey was then involved in all of that mess too, with all the different coaches and everything. And they all went by the wayside. And the weirdest thing is that those men have actually gone on to be trusted in other places. None of the Dolphin head coaches have ever had success after they left Miami. So it shows you that Miami hired all the wrong coaches. But they really did not hire the wrong personnel people. Just saying. So and in Greer's explanation, because I can't call it a defense, I wonder if he gave Flo too much power. I wonder if he's been too nice at the top and hasn't been enough of a dick and say, no, we're not taking this person. We're taking the person I want instead. And I think he's deferred to too many people in there. But again, the politics, we don't know who's who. We don't know who picked what. We don't know what's going on. So it's all going to fall on Greer. Like it all fell on Spielman, like it all fell on Ireland, like it all fell on Hickey. And eventually everybody's going to get washed out because that's what we do. Okay? But it's something to think about. And it shows that there is a track record that's terrible on one side, but it's really not that bad on the other side. Even though the results show differently, those people were competent at what they do. But did we allow them to do what they were supposed to do? Or did Chris Greer allow himself to do what he was supposed to do? Or did he think that he had to then, make others happy? And I'm wondering that right now. That's what I'm wondering. Because as I've told you guys over and over and over and over again, all of these players cannot be this terrible. It just cannot be the case. Veterans, young players, the failure from top to bottom on the roster, it cannot be this bad. When you see the special teams aren't doing well, offense isn't doing well, defense isn't doing well, penalties in every single phases of the game, players underperforming, players who are big contract players, and players that are rookies and all of that. And I continue to feel like it's the coaching. I'm sorry. I know some of you want Greer blood. But right now, Flo's the guy that I have on double secret probation right now. I'm just not ready that it's the personnel department. I'm just not. I'm sorry. And I get it. We're going to disagree on this. But for me, coaching is really the major problem I see right now. And it looks to me like Flo doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he has no answers to fix this. And quite frankly, I don't know how you fix this. Holy crap, I went over. Hour number 3 is next.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O Show. Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio.
When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547.
Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Scotty Pablo in the...
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing a personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Thank you. Hour number 3, and Andrew Lowe, thank you, sir, on Venmo, giving us a little love. Drew Boo says the show fins up. I stand with Tua. Please talk about Natalie Merchant. Did you ever see her in concert? Yes, I have. I saw Natalie Merchant several times in concert. I saw her with the 10,000 Maniacs at the Sunrise. Today's her birthday, by the way. I think that's why he's asking. and she is a effing goddess. I love Natalie Merchant. I like her more with 10,000 Maniacs than I do her solo stuff. Lily something, and what was some of her albums that I remember, Carnival, all that good stuff. I like her solo stuff, but her 10,000 Maniac stuff was so much better. The music was just, the band was better. It was just better music overall. And I saw her at the 10,000 Maniacs. I saw her for the God, it's that Red album, the one after Weather and all that other stuff that's in that album that is so good. Jack, whatever, Train, all that stuff that they have on that album. It's the one right after, the one with Red and Eat for Two and all that is in it. And so I saw her there at the Sunrise Musical Theater, which, by the way, it's a place I miss so badly. One of my favorite places in South Florida history to enjoy a concert was the Sunrise Musical Theater. The acoustics there were phenomenal. Then I saw the 10,000 Maniacs open up for Duran Duran at the James L. Knight Center. I think it was. Yes. No, wait a minute. That was the Sundays. I think it was the Sun. Somebody help me. Duran Duran 20 years ago, something like that. James L. Knight. Was it the Sundays or was it 10,000 Maniacs? Now I'm forgetting. But I did see Natalie Merchant solo. No, it was 10,000. It was the Sundays, actually. It was the Sundays. I did see Natalie Merchant solo at Tampa Stadium where the Tampa Yankees play. And she opened up for Sting. And Sting was doing his solo tour. So it was actually a really cool concert. Half her songs were Maniac songs, and half her songs were her solo stuff. So I've seen her in both, you know. For me, Natalie Merchant and Bjork are a lot alike in the sense that Bjork probably had more commercial success because Human Behavior was a big-ass song for her and as a solo artist. But musically, I like her better on the Sugar Cubes. Same thing as Natalie Merchant. She had a lot of success also with her solo stuff. I don't know if it's that much with 10, maybe slightly more than 10,000 Maniacs to a certain extent. But for me, I love her more in 10,000 Maniacs because the band itself was better. You know, it's kind of like Belinda Carlisle. She does a nice job in her solo stuff, but it cannot compare to when she's with the Go-Go's. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Big O, do you like progressive house music? I am not into any of the EDM stuff. No, I normally don't get into that stuff. So I am not the old country. I'm out. EDM, I'm out. What else? Classical, a lot of it I'm really not interested. There's some that I do kind of like. I don't like pop Spanish music. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Now you get me Latin jazz and I'm all over it. Okay? That kind of stuff that I can go with. There's only a couple of genres of music that I'm not really a fan of. I love old rap, new rap, very, very little of it. Very little of it. You know? There you go. What about 80s house music? Probably most of it, not that interested in it. Most of it. Are we talking house like Gino Latino, like that kind of house? Is that or a little more hardcore than that? Michael M says trading Minka and Tunsil indicates we don't care about winning right now. Then they start Fitz over Rosen to win right now. This is why we don't have Joe Burrow, the next Tom Brady, right now. Well, they would have had to lose every game to get Joe Burrow, right? They would have been the number one pick. They weren't the number one pick. Black Sunday was filmed at 76 Super Bowl 10. Same as two teams, same uniforms for 79 game unusual. Well, I was at the Super Bowl in 79. I got in for a couple rolled up bucks. Steelers and Cowboys. That was fun, man. Back in the day when we had the Orange Bowl here, and we had the Super Bowls would come to town, that was fun because you can get in for a couple rolled up bucks. Nothing wrong with that, dude. The old Orange Bowl, baby. There was an area where people would jump a fence, if I remember correctly. I never would do something like that. That would be crazy. But I am guilty of rolling up a couple bucks and handing the ticket person, and the ticket people were notorious for doing that. They don't have cameras or anything like that back in those days. They didn't even have police hanging around in those days. You know what I'm saying? Dougie Fresh chimes in. Thank you, Dougie Fresh, with a little super chat love. He says, if we take Tua's first 13 starts and compare them to elite QBs, Tua has more yards and TDs and less interceptions than Brady, Breeze, and Stafford. Also a higher QBR than Murray, Brady, Luck, Breeze, Stafford. Dougie Fresh, why are you giving me like logic and stats that make sense? And we have an overreacting crowd now to Tua. We have a group of people that are closed-minded and they're convinced, and they're arm queens or size queens, and he's not 6'5", and he doesn't have a cannon, so that means he can't play in the NFL. When many quarterbacks that look just like him, named Fran Tarkenton, named Drew Brees, named Bob Greasy, have succeeded in this league. You know what I mean? But you can't tell people that because they don't believe it. And I get it. Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray are small guys too, like Tua, but they are freak athletes. So that's a different, but I can compare Tua to Greasy. I can compare Tua to Breeze. I can compare Tua to Fran Tarkenton. I can compare him to those kind of quarterbacks. And I watched them in the NFL succeed. And they did. And I can compare him to Joe Montana. He's actually more athletic than Joe Montana. And Joe Montana has 4 championships. You know what I mean? I can compare him to Steve Young. Steve Young didn't have a gun either. Good athlete, can move around. Now, he's obviously a little bigger than Tua, so that's the difference there. But arm strength, athleticism, almost about the same. You know? It's people have convinced themselves of this idea and that they all have to look like, Justin Herbert. And you can either succeed or fail on both extremes. We've seen shorter quarterbacks that have failed. We've seen shorter quarterbacks that have succeeded. We've seen guys that don't have, monster arms succeed. We've seen guys that don't have monster arms fail. And we've seen big-ass quarterbacks succeed and fail. Big-ass arms succeed and fail. I'm watching Jameis Winston last night. It's like, and they're extrapolating his stats. Oh, he could end up with 40 and 10 and this, that. And I'm watching him play, and it's just never there. It's just not there. What I watched from Tua this past Sunday, even with the 2 interceptions, was way more impressive than what I saw from Jameis Winston last night. I saw 2 coaches that coach scared because of their quarterbacks. And on this team, you're not coaching scared because of the quarterbacks. You're coaching scared because of the offensive line, because you have no running game, because you have unreliable receivers. But it's all about narratives, right? We've talked about this many times on the show, and we've got plenty of people that have made up these narratives of what they are. That's it. That's all it is. So there you go, Dougie Fresh. That's your answer. Speaking of digital currency, so did you see that Tom Brady got back his 600th ball, right? That apparently Mike Evans screwed up and gave in the first place. And, the talk has been, well, wait a minute, man, he could have gotten a lot, this and that. And I personally would have given him back to Tom Brady. And I would figure that they're going to reward me, right? And I know some people are saying, well, you can put it up for auction, get $500,000, $750,000, $2 million, whatever it is. And so at that moment, I would have done the right thing because that's important to him. And, I didn't earn that ball in a way. I get the world we live in. It's greedy, it's self-centered, it's selfish. It's just a world that we show very little common decency towards each other, no matter what our stature is. And that's the problem with a lot of people, that you look at Tom Brady and you look at where he is in life. And obviously he's got all the championships. He's got the beautiful wife, the perfect family, and the guy's a winner. He's the GOAT of all GOATs, right? And say, oh, he doesn't need that. That's important to him, dude. He's the first guy ever to do that. And nobody may ever do that again, to get 600 touchdowns, to be around this long like he has. You know what I'm saying? So they gave it back to him. And I got to tell you, I think I'm a guy that believes in karma, and that if you're good overall to people, eventually it'll come to you. I'm not saying it always happens, because we all have bad luck in life. And Lord knows I've had my share of bad breaks. But overall, I still believe in good karma, and it comes back to you. I believe that if you have bad karma constantly, you're going to get it back in return. I'm a strong believer of that. And so the guy ended up giving him the ball back. So people were wondering, what did he end up with? Well, it ends up becoming, I think, pretty cool. He gets 2 signed Brady jerseys, which you could sell those down the line, and they're probably going to go for a lot of money once he retires. Wait till he gets into the Hall of Fame, and you're going to get a maniac Bucks fan, whatever, to pay a moon for it. Or maybe a Patriot fan maybe the Patriot fan has a signed Brady jersey as a Patriot, and he wants to go get a signed Bucks jersey to put it up. Some people have plenty of money. He gets a signed Brady Bucks helmet, which he could probably sell for a boatload of money. So he's got 3 items he can sell or keep. He gets a Mike Evans jersey and cleats. You could sell that too. He gets $1,000 to shop at the Bucks shop. Cool. He gets 2 season tickets for this season and next season. And Tom Brady added 1 Bitcoin, $63,000. Let that thing sit there, and it's going to go to several $100,000. Just let the Bitcoin sit there, dude. Don't touch it. Let it sit there. It's going to be at 100,000 soon, and it's going to go to a couple 100,000 down the line. So you're going to get your money either way. Good karma, man. Good for him. I would have done the same thing. And I would have been happy as hell, man. You want to give me a Bitcoin? Let's go, baby. Bitcoin. Yeah. Don't forget, invest in Ethereum. Not a financial advisor, just a guy that loves crypto and a little Cardano action, of course. Those are 3 of my major coins that I hold. Let's see. Can we stop with Watson and build the O-line and start looking elsewhere for wide routes, except for Waddle, and keep Gesicki? Rich, you're not running the team. So we're going to tell you, my brother. I love the same thing. I'd keep Tua and build the line. But they've given up on Tua already. You know what is going to be funny? How they spin this when the Watson trade fails and they don't get him and he goes somewhere else now, and then they have to kind of explain the whole mess. They have to kind of make up with Tua, and they're walking around with egg on their face. Or And Flo kind of looks like a guy that is kind of stubborn. Does he just say, whatever, man, we'll move on next year and we'll find another guy and we'll just screw it and never give Tua any kind of reassurances and just treat it like another day? They've created such a mess with the quarterback. It's got to be tough, man, to be that guy and not be supported. Rafael Alonso says, I jumped the fence and snuck in the Orange Bowl all the time as a kid with my friends, but I'm 58 years old and went to school a couple of blocks away at Champagnat Catholic School. Nice. Nice, Rafael. Good for you. I saw people jump the fence. It was on the east side, if I remember correctly. I remember that. Jeff Fernandez says, not bad for being at the right place at the right time. Exactly, Jeff. That's a great attitude. Because some people will keep it, oh, no, screw Tom Brady. I'm going to sell this. And come on, dude. And look, Tom Brady's really cool. If you're smart, you leave. You know what you do with that Bitcoin? You put it on crypto.com, okay? You stake those $63,000, right? You earn 6% interest on those $63,000, and you let it sit there. And it grows to 70, 80, 100, 150, 200, 300,000, plus you're gaining interest on it. So that $63,000 coin that may end up at 250 or 300,000 will be even more than that because you're adding the interest on top of it. Because that's what I do with our coins. I stake them, and then I'm getting, 2% in one, 4.5% in another, 5.5% in another, 10% on another. And then when the time is up, the interest I earned, I then top it on, put it back in again, and stake it again for 3 more months. So all the interest I earned during that time, they gave it to you in Ethereum. They gave it to you in Bitcoin. They gave it to you in Matic. They gave it to you in Crow. Whatever it is you staked, they're paying you back in the same coin. So then all that interest, you then throw it on top of what you own. You put more, and you're staking more every 3 months. So it becomes a cycle that it grows and grows and grows and grows. See what I'm saying? So there's a lot to learn about crypto. And, you see the crypto ETFs have taken off, billions of dollars already invested in it. all Walmart's in crypto, Amazon's in crypto, Visa's in crypto now. Everything is, because everything is going in that direction. I've been trying to tell you guys this and keep telling you guys this. And some of you have been smart and you've gotten on board. Some of you that have been taking my advice the last couple of months, if you invested a couple $100 in what I've told you, you're up a couple of $1,000 right now. Okay? Because all the coins that I've told you to invest in are way up. And you've easily already taken profits and you're all winning big time. So, it's the future. Nice job by Brady giving him a Bitcoin. That's pretty solid, man. It's pretty solid. And if he's going to have kids or has kids or whatever, that's the kind of stuff you want to leave for your kid for the future. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk actually some good news, man. The University of Miami. Tyler Van Dyke and the boys, man. Tyler, sometimes, there's a Top Gun scene that says, son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. Well, Tyler Van Dyke was writing checks and his body was cashing them against NC State. We will talk to Manny Navarro and the Canes Where Miami Hurricanes report next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, media group, Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
It was close, but I'll take it because it don't matter. In the end, it's a W, and that was sweet. On Saturday, as the Canes defeated number 18 NC State 31-30. Tyler Van Dyke, 325 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions, which is a beautiful thing. Manny Navarro, of course, covers the Canes on a daily basis. And, of course, brings it for The Athletic. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro for those of you that are listening on the podcast. Manny, good afternoon, my brother. And I guess it was fun to cover good news instead, huh?
It's always more fun when they win, Big O. It always is. They were happy. It was a happy locker room after the game. And, these guys, the one thing you got to say for Manny is there's nobody quitting on him, right? I mean, yes, maybe some of the seniors and the guys that were starting are pissed off at him. But for the most part, I'd say 98% of that locker room is fighting for him, and they want to win. And, they came to Miami believing in Manny Diaz, and I think they still believe in Manny Diaz, the kids who were part of this program, the 45 freshmen. And Tyler Van Dyke, he backed up his talk. You got to give him credit for the way he played.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I listen, I didn't like him talking because obviously it's a bad team and you're not in a position to talk. Hell, I don't even want you guys to be bringing out the stupid chain or anything like that. I don't think, as crappy as you are right now, the turnover chain is embarrassing. You know what I mean? So for me, there's some things that I'm already kind of against as it is. And talking was one that I was cringing as he was talking because he was acting like they were, 9-0 and stuff, and right. They were wheeling and dealing it. But hey, man, if you're gonna talk it and you then walk it, then hey, kudos to you, man. I'm gonna give you props. And that's when I got home after the concert, because I went to see the Fix that night, and I got home to see the game. I was so impressed. The moxie the kid has out there on the field. You got to like what you see from Tyler Van Dyke, and Garcia cannot be happy with that, by the way.
No, I'm sure that, listen, it's an ever evolving fluid situation, right? With these kids and these quarterbacks, and they all come to college to play. They don't come to sit the bench. And so that'll be another storyline down the road. But as far as for right now, I thought Tyler Van Dyke, there were some plays, the first touchdown pass in particular, where he was going to get hit and he knew he had a one-on-one with Rambo, and he trusted his receiver and he put the ball up. He just placed it perfectly where his guy could get underneath the ball and make the catch, and he trusted him and he did it. And then the last touchdown I thought was really impressive as well. Another RPO type situation where you have a split second to make a decision. And not only did he hit Rambo for the touchdown, but where he placed the ball, only Rambo could have grabbed that ball. There was no tips, no interception. So to me, the guy showed improvement, right? He kind of has a sidearm motion anyway. He kind of throws the ball a little. It's not always over the top type delivery. And, he's throwing between hands and he's putting the ball where it needs to go. So very encouraging performance. And the reality is Miami's only going to win more games this season because of Tyler Van Dyke. They need him to play at his best. If he's not anywhere near that, they're probably not going to win too many games. Granted, after Pittsburgh this weekend, you're playing against teams with losing records, right? Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, Florida State, Duke all have losing records right now. I think they're all 3-4.
But there's no gimmies for them because
there's no gimmies. But he needs to play
it's
good.
a nice win this week, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden he
Right.
becomes some kind of a good team or anything like that. But still,
Right.
it was, watching the Rooster, that kid is special, dude.
Showed flashes of Duke Johnson to me, just
Right.
the explosive nature, and then really finding I mean, I was watching the game on binoculars up there from the press box, and I'm like, this dude has like zero space to work with, and he's still getting 3, 4, 5 yards, and it's just tough running. And he's a light guy, and he's getting pounded pretty good. He's taking some shots, and so he's a tough kid. To me, what I'd like to see happen here over the last half of the season is let's see a little more Cody Brown just to save this kid's body, because you need Jalen Knighton in the open space to make the kind of plays that he makes. By the way, I looked this up after the game. He's got 2 games now where he's got over 70 yards receiving and over 70 yards rushing. This Jalen Knighton kid. That's only happened 9 other times at Miami since 2000, and he's done it twice already. So kudos to that kid. He's a real dynamic two-way threat.
Yeah, no, he had 83 yards in both receiving and rushing, and he's a fluid runner, man. It just, not that he has the same running style, but it has that Eric Dickerson feel to it, that there's a gear there always that can just take off, and it looks so effortless in the way he runs. You know what I mean? He kind of reminds me of Eric in that sense. Completely different running backs, but I'm just saying it's just one of those things. You can just see the talent.
Well, you see him create
like
separation.
when you watch Cam Harris, you watch a lunch pail running back.
Right.
When you watch this kid, you watch a special talent at running back. It's like there's a difference, dude. It's like another level.
It is.
It's impressive, man.
And I would say, if you look to the future and you say, man, what would it be like to have him and Don Chaney Jr. together? I mean, that's a hellacious 1-2 punch, when you start looking ahead the next season. And I like the other 2 kids behind him, both Thad Franklin and Cody Brown. I mean, they've got some talented running backs. It's just a shame that they lost 2 of them already halfway through the season. So
yeah. That's rough. I thought Charleston Rambo. I mean, he came to play too, man. 9 catches.
Yeah, another great game.
And a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, and you look back at his Michigan State game, he's now had 2 games with that you call in the fantasy world, right? Boom or bust. He's had 2 of those boom games where he's really put up huge numbers and been reliable. Listen, the kid wants it, man. He wants to play in the NFL. He's heard some of the things, people have said about him. I reported that, as good as he's played so far, NFL scouts are still kind of wary that, hey, he gets pushed out of bounds a little too easily. He's a little bit too much of a lightweight. And, the kid's trying to put stuff on film to show people that he's tough and that he's reliable. And, he was a kid who also dealt with drops in the past. Oh, I haven't seen him really drop too many balls, if any, this year. I mean, he's been pretty consistent.
Actually. Yeah. Yeah.
At Oklahoma, he dropped a few balls deep down the field. He's not having any of those issues. So he's played well. I think Keyshawn Smith continues to have his part. The most encouraging part out of this last game, besides Rambo, was that Will Mallory came to life, right?
I was going to tell you there was a Will Mallory sighting. Yeah, I was going to tell you that.
Yeah, I think, after the game, I heard Tyler Van Dyke say that he had a conversation with Will and try to tell him, hey, you know what, screw all the outside noise. Just put that behind you, come out and play. And he trusted him, man. That 3rd and 16, he could have thrown it underneath to Jalen Knighton, and instead he trusted the guy to make the catch over the middle, and he did. So
big play. That was big.
Yep.
That was absolutely beautiful. What'd you think of Manny's passionate plea?
Listen, man, all you can do is coach, right? And put out a plea that, hey, I'm trying to get this thing right. Oh, I told you. I mean, our conversation this summer, he was very passionate about how, this isn't just about him, that in general, whoever was coach of this team would have to deal with some of the issues he's having to deal with, right? That you need you any guy in his shoes. It's not like you could just throw anybody in his shoes and voila, magic. Miami all of a sudden is 2001 good again, and I think he really feels, and I've told you this, he cares about this job. He loves this job. This was his dream job. He doesn't want to lose this job, and he's going to put his heart and soul into it. And, I thought yesterday what he said about, I'm not just coaching, to win one game for my job, etc. I thought he was speaking from the heart. You know, I think he was speaking from a place that is very real. It's stuff that he said to me in the past, and I think you know, one of the interesting takeaways from yesterday for me was how he basically said, "Look, uh, we've tried to recruit, right? And we're not having a great season, and maybe now we need to sort of look to the transfer portal and look wherever we have to go to find players to help fill this team." I think, you know, there's a lot of pressure, obviously, down here in South Florida to land the elite kids, but he was banking on having a good season to get really good players from South Florida to commit here before signing day. And I don't know that he necessarily waved the white flag yesterday and said we're giving up, but he certainly said enough to make you feel like he's not going to sit on his hands and be like, well, our recruiting class sucks and we're just going to take guys to take guys. I think he knows that you know, he's got to pivot to the transfer portal and find guys like he has. And you know what? If he keeps his job and he comes back next year, which, you know, I know you believe he will, going to the transfer portal and finding guys to fill needs isn't the worst thing. He's had plenty of success with it in the past. And I think, you know, we'll see what they end up getting come December. But I think they can still get some really good players through the transfer portal. Every year he gets at least one or two quality starters out of the transfer portal.
Depends on how he finishes, right? I mean, that's
right.
Because if he finishes terrible, I think he's going to lose some of the guys he currently has on his team and any of the commits.
Right.
But if he finishes strong and somehow then kind of shines a light and says, okay, look, a bunch of our young guys have turned it around. You can join our young guys in the process of turning this around. Then I think it does become a sell job for him there.
I agree. And at this point, you know, I said before the NC State game, I thought they would finish 6-6, right? I think that's a fair guess with the schedule they have remaining. Now that they've got that win, I think they've got a chance at 7 wins. And I don't know that necessarily fires any recruits up, but it's certainly better than a 4 or 5 win season, right?
Amen.
And so I think you can still salvage this, especially if the young guys continue to grow the way they did. And I thought there was a tremendous amount of growth on both sides of the football from some young guys. And you know what? We're going to see a lot of James Williams. We're going to see a lot of Cam Kinchens. We're going to see a lot of Leonard Taylor and a lot of the young guys who have been clamoring to get in there. Marcus Clark is another example. He's a guy that was part of the 2020 recruiting cycle. He gets his first start, and I thought he looked really good out there at cornerback. Oh, so they have another guy here where you're like, okay, here's another piece. Here's somebody else that you look at and you say, okay, they're bringing these young guys along, and maybe there's hope for the future here.
You know, something you said before I let you go that you know, you were mentioning that, you know, hey, you think he's coming back next year in Manny, and I do think he's coming back. But last week you mentioned something that threw me a little off. And that's, you hear that maybe Blake James is the guy that may not end up surviving.
Right.
Now, if they finish strong, Blake survives. If they don't, Blake's the guy that goes down, you think, not Manny? Is that what you're kind of read? Is that the tea leaves you're reading right now?
Well, I think more than anything, what I'm reading is that there's a lot of dissatisfaction. And I would think that both of them aren't necessarily safe, is what I would say. And I think that in the event that this thing goes very wrong, I could see both of them being gone. Now, who goes first?
Will eat all that salary. What's Blake got left on his deal? Do you know?
I don't. I was looking at some tax returns information last night, looking at different salaries and stuff from 2019. And I think overall, you know, Miami fans obviously know to fire Manny Diaz, pay him to go away, you know, and his assistant coaches, right? Because it's not just Manny, it's other guys too. That's going to be very costly. So again, to me, it would have to be a disastrous finish. This would have to be the team quitting on him. This would have to be, you know, getting blown out at Pittsburgh and then losing to Georgia Tech and Florida State. Like those kind of things, I think would have to happen for there to be, you know, changes across the board. And I don't know that that's going to happen, right? Like right now, with what Tyler Van Dyke showed me on Saturday, I really do think they're going to be bowl eligible, because if that kid is playing at that level, they're going to beat some of the other. I mean, NC State wasn't a bad team, dude.
Oh, man, a good defense.
They had a very good defense, number 1 third down defense, and this kid was making really smart decisions. So If you have a quarterback and the defense is getting better, like it looked on Saturday, where all of a sudden you're not having, 30 missed tackles or 25 missed tackles, I think that gives them a chance. Granted, look, they still could have lost that game, right? If that fumble on the punt return holds and that kid for NC State doesn't lose his helmet, they probably lose the game. But to me, they're right there and probably good enough to win, those last 4 games.
All right, so dude, you like threw chum in the water. Okay, you can't do this to me. You throwing chum
What did
in
I
the
do?
water.
What did I do?
I'm looking at tax records here. What the hell does Blake James make?
I
gotta know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I don't have the paperwork in front of me right now. Maybe I can save that for Friday. That'll be a nice tease for Friday. I'll come back with some of these answers. But I think
they're paying that guy, bro, to do absolutely nothing. I'm just wondering.
Well, I know he isn't among the higher paid people at Miami. There's plenty of others ahead of him.
Okay.
But I can say this. I mean, Miami as a school, I think according to tax records that I saw last night, I had a friend of mine who's a tax specialist look at it for me because it was 250 something pages. I think their total profit for 2019 was somewhere around 89 million. Now that's the entire school. Okay. The entire school, not just the athletic program, the entire school. Okay. You compare that to Clemson or Alabama or Auburn, who as an athletic program made, 50 million or 100 or 75 million, just as an athletic program made that much money. It puts into perspective, right, what it is that Miami's going to spend on its next coach if it hires its next coach, or what it's going to hire ever, I mean, for them to the highest paid coach in Miami history is Mark Richt.
The medical money is not included in there. That's the thing. Everything they're producing in Jackson and all those other places, you're not getting any. You're not getting those figures because they're private entities. So that's probably, that's probably fudging the books in another way because that's not money directly in the school. That's part of a business that's tied to the school.
Correct.
Right?
But yes, but I mean, still as a university, this is the endowment, right? Making 90 million off of, or 89 million off of, I think they made somewhere around 4.3 or 4.4 billion or made that total and then spent 4.31, whatever it is, whatever is the difference to make $89 million. So, I mean, overall, their budget, nothing like a lot of other schools. And in the long run, man, like you just look at the history. How much have they spent on coaching? $4 million is the most they've ever spent on a coach. And that was Mark Richt a couple of years ago. So look at that USA Today list and see how many coaches are making over $4 million a year. Pat Narduzzi's making more than $4 million a year. That's the coach you're playing against Saturday.
Right. And you got to buy somebody better than that.
Right. That's the point. What are they going to spend $6 million on a coach all of a sudden, $8 million on a coach? Right. I mean, that's what I think it would probably take, and then pay other guys to go away. I don't, that's not Miami's nature.
Right. Yeah. That's why I think for sure Manny returns, because he's got 2 years left, dude. If he had a year left, I can see them saying, okay, you're out of here. But 2 years left. Wow, that's a lot. And so what do you, by the way, what's the ballpark figure you think Blake makes?
Probably $1 million or a little less than that. I mean,
okay.
That's typical for athletic directors. They don't get paid ridiculous amounts of money. Granted, they work around the clock, but I don't have it right in front of me. I was looking at it last night with one of my tax buddies, and I was trying to make sure the documentation was legit. And so he looked up the real stuff online and was giving me some figures, and we were kind of comparing it. I said, let's look at Alabama, let's look at LSU, let's look at Clemson, and see what their overall numbers are. And, because that is a big debate, right? We all want to know how much money is really available, right? Miami's a private school. They don't release any records of, so we kind of have to go off of tax returns. So,
exactly. Yeah, I'm with you there. By the way, that around the clock shit doesn't fly with me. You know why? Because your ass works around the clock. My ass works around the clock. Because while we do like your writing or I do my show, we still got to go watch games and read articles all day long, all night long. I love it when people go, your job's easy, bro. You just talk 3 hours a day. They think like I just turn on the mic and I can just talk 3 hours. And like, I didn't need to fill my head up with some information in order to get to 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
I always laugh with that. So we all work around the clock, dude, pretty much.
I've had so many friends go, man, I'd love to have your job just to sit and watch games. I go, you really think that's all I do, bro?
That's all it
really?
is, right?
How about the 47 phone calls that I make a day to different people, right? Like, what about that? So
I know, I get it. We have a fun job that we love, but it is a job. Don't kid yourself, okay? There's a lot of effing work that goes through it. I even tell people, like, what's not your thing and my thing, TV. You watch somebody do a 2-minute sports package. You don't realize that dude or woman had to go down to camp, hang out for a couple of hours, wait for a couple of hours for a player just to get a 2-minute soundbite, then follow the coach, and then the editor had to edit it. The cameraman had to film everything. You have to go get like maybe another interview somewhere else. People don't realize that person on TV spent 6 hours to do that 2-minute package.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's the shit that people don't realize that what goes through all of this. Yeah, it's a fun job, but there's a lot of bullshit that goes with it, bro. There's a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and
you got to put up with a lot in order to do what we do, in other words.
And now social media really has made it so much more difficult because, like, you think about the McCourty Perry era at Miami, right? Like, how many times was that guy posting a video and I'm sitting there having to look every single night, like, what is this guy putting online? What kind of inappropriate stuff are we going to hear about in the morning or whatever, and that's part of the deal now. We have to be on top of everything that they do.
I know. You got to follow everybody. It's crazy stuff, and you do an awesome job, my brother, and I know we're very appreciative of what you do every week here on the show. So, Manny, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to The Athletic. Incredibly affordable. You'll get all the local stuff and national and international with the little soccer too on top of all of that. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, we will catch up again on Friday, my friend. You'd be good.
Thanks, brother. Good talking to you.
You got it. There you go. The great Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Appreciate it. And I see Hank Goldberg's left nut says Perry has a good little career at FAU. Yeah, he has, right? I'm happy for N'Kosi. Look, man, we're all immature. Hell, I'm 55. I'm still immature. But, I mean, we all go through our stages in life where we are immature, and where N'Kosi's at is where we've all been. Maybe we didn't do things to his extent, and obviously we didn't have social media in our day and those kind of things. But I give N'Kosi Perry a lot of credit because Perry has grown up a lot and has matured. And I think, Manny mentioned it last week when we were talking with Manny, like, hey man, it's nice to see N'Kosi have some success with FAU. And he talked about how De'Aaron King had an influence on him when he got there. And I think that's helped N'Kosi. And I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for FAU. By the way, did you guys see what happened with FAU and FIU and Butch Davis and all this stuff? Like Butch Davis had no idea that FIU was being left out of the move to the American Athletic Conference. So I think it's like 5. I wrote it down somewhere here. Let's see where I wrote it. I wrote it a couple days ago. This is like one of those things that I do, and then I never get to it, and then it's sitting there after a while, and I remember to talk about it because I forgot to mention it that day, and I always have more information than I normally use on the air. But apparently, there were, I believe it's between 5 to 7 teams from the Conference USA that are leaving for the Athletic American Conference or the American Athletic Conference. And FAU was one of them. They didn't want FIU. So now the Conference USA has been gutted, basically, and they don't have much of a future anymore. So FIU doesn't have a conference home technically, unless it stays in FIU and on Conference USA, and they've got 5 teams left. So I haven't read up anything in the last 24 hours, 48 hours if anything's changed with FIU. But way to go, Pete Garcia. Wow. And way to go, FAU, being on top of it and being a program that's wanted. FIU, does Pete Garcia just have naked pictures of people? Just how does that guy keep his job there? How has he kept his job for all this time with the reputation that guy has? It really is amazing to me. I talked about this, I don't know, a couple months ago, what a difference with that athletic program. When Cindy Russo and Denny Price were there and the basketball program was actually, half decent and had a couple of players and stuff. And soccer's always been pretty good, but it was a much better athletic program years back. And I had to, that Pete Garcia dude, I don't know how that guy, he's got some pictures of somebody. Big O, you have a great afternoon. Thank you, Jeremy. You too. You have a great afternoon. Dolphin says, so true. We could have easily been winless up to this point. Yes, that is true. One strip fumble away. Jep Irvis says, the culture, discipline, football issues are the giant red flags, even more troubling than the win-loss record. Yeah, it is. Dana says, any agreed jerp, but thinking we aren't shit just ain't true. We are close, but definitely underperforming. Close? Who's close? The U is close? Is that what you're saying? I hope you're not saying that, right? Because the U is not even close. The U is not even anywhere near, and neither is the Dolphins. So I don't know. You can't be talking about any football team. You know who's close? The Panthers are close. The word close. Close to what? To being average? Okay. But close to actually being a champion or challenging? No. Can't be talking football with that comment. Yeah, Dana says Miami. Yeah, no, the Miami Dolphins aren't even close anywhere. When you don't have an offensive line and you don't have a defensive line, you're not close. You're not anywhere near it. If you don't win at the point of attack, you're done. It's over. So Miami cannot win at the point of attack on either side of the football. While that's going on, they will have no shot. Those are the facts. Big O NFL Network Dolphins owner Stephen Ross laughed when he saw reporters waiting for him at the league meeting. I know what it's about, and I'm not dealing with it. And that was it. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Why would he? Big O, what happened over at 790? Well, I broke the news for you guys yesterday. It won't be called the Joe anymore on 560. They're moving Zaslow over to 560. He'll follow Joe for now. They'll keep Hockman over at 560. 790 becomes a betting channel, so it'll all be all sports. And then and so eventually Joe will leave in January. I think it's February. I think when he's done over there, and I would imagine that they'll move what's it called? Tobin and Leroy over. I hope so, because those guys deserve to work. So I hope they move Tobin and Leroy over. And so they'll do the morning, and then Zaz will follow them, and then it'll be Hawk. And that'll be your lineup over at QAM. That's it. That's all. That's what's going to happen. I've been telling you for a while that one of them is going to get syndicated and the other one will be local. I thought it would be the other way around, actually. I thought 790 would be the local one and 560 would end up getting, being for now syndicated, which I know they're run. This is an Odyssey thing because they bought so many stations. So now they're going to put a whole bunch of betting shows and just put one handicapper after another on the air on a station, which there's room for that, but I don't know if you want to do a whole station, but that's Odyssey. That's why they're bleeding money and they don't know what they're doing, but whatever, man. Trust me, nothing we're worried about here on this show. That's for sure. Okay. We have been blessed right now that at this point in time, we are the most listened to sports talk show in South Florida right now. All right. Because at 790 or 560, there's not one show that's getting 97,000 downloads in a day. Most of those shows would be lucky if they get 97,000 in a week. So we are very blessed thanks to all of you out there. We're certainly not worried about it. That's for sure. But there you go. That's what's going on with the disaster known as 560 and 790. Pretty amazing. Damn. You guys are awesome, by the way. I mean, it's 1:00 in the afternoon, and it is moving. It is moving. Will the Heat stay on 790? Doesn't seem like room to cram them on 560. Fins, Panthers, and UM. I think they will stay there on 790. But I mean, are they going to be happy being on a station that really is not talking sports? It's all gambling all the time. Maybe they move them around. Maybe they move the Panthers over to 790 and they move the Heat over to 560. That would probably make sense. You know what? I think I'm onto something there. I can see them doing that because the Panthers move around anyway. So I would imagine that contract, they can move them around. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move them eventually to 790 and move the Heat over to 560. That might make sense. But then again, it is what it is. Hope Zach is okay. He's a good dude. Zach will be fine while Joe is there. I don't know what happens after Joe leaves. I don't know how they work the shows after that. You know what I mean? Maybe Zach joins another show or something. I'm not exactly sure what they'll do, but he'll be fine while Joe is there. I know that. Hopefully everything will be good. Big O Any News at 640 and 940. Those are garbage stations. There's no news there. Those aren't stations, bro. That's garbage. All they do there is sell time. And they already eliminated everything at 940, unfortunately. Now at 640, I think, what do they have left? All they do is syndication, Yankees, and Slater, right? That's it. All they do is sell time. You buy airtime there to be on the air. That's all. They don't pay any salaries, nothing. They don't pay salaries at 640 or 940. They're not sports stations. They're just syndicated crap. When I was trying to actually move, I met with the people at 940. And they told me, this is how they told me. 940 is the 7th station on the cluster, and we treat it like that. That's all you need to know. That's the heavy hitters they're telling me. It's like, hey, so all right, 940. Oh, well, we want you to know. They wanted me to go over and pay for my own producer. When the guy told me that, I'm like, you want me to pay for my own producer? No. I want you to hire 2 producers for me. That's what I told him. I said, I'm not here to pay for your producers. I mean, it's like, I love these people. They want us to do all the work, pay for everybody, bring in all the ad revenue, bring in the listeners, do all the work for them, and they do nothing. That's the problem in radio, bro. Do you know how many people are just working there stealing money and they don't produce anything? on air, producing, sales, production, you name it. There are so many people stealing money in radio. It's not even funny because they keep playing politics and they keep their friends on and this and that. And they hire the wrong people and all that. And now we're at a point where now they don't even, now they're down to the last people that are left. At least they've kept some competent people around. But damn, dude. It's like when I was in it, there you would look around, you're like wondering, why is this guy working here? Why is she working here? Who is this? Like they bring nothing to the table, but they know somebody. It's a friend of theirs that hired them. It's really a joke. So, I mean, local sports talk is dead. Just is. Plus, you have to play the politics because the companies that own you don't want you to say anything negative. They don't want you to go too crazy. Julius 305 says, keep grinding, Big O. Un abrazo. Thank you, sir. NorCal says, Joe Rose going to move to NorCal after he retires. See you soon, Joe. Yeah. I could see him. I don't think he'd move. Well, maybe he would because of his parents. That would make a lot of sense. Or maybe he'll go back and forth. Hey, man, you know what? You know what Joe Rose has done? Joe Rose has earned the right to do whatever the F he wants to do. Okay? All right? He's paid his dues. He's worked his ass off. You know, hopefully he saved a couple of bucks and he can go out and live his life, man. That's it. It's not that I talk to Joe, not that me and him are buds or anything. We know each other. We deal with each other. We're cool, whatever. All good. I got nothing but love for Joe, but we're not buds or anything, but I can read from afar. There's no way he's happy. He's just going through the motions now. He's probably dying to get out of there and get as far away from Len Weiner as possible. Yesterday in that meeting, I want you to know, most of the people were praying that Len Weiner got fired. And most of the people were, you know how many people told me what was going on in the meeting? I mean, give me a break. So most of those people want me back, actually. They want me to go back. But you know, there's no way that is ever going to happen. I'm way too happy doing this. Yeah, you know, I'm happy, bro. Me and Sean, we got it going on, man. Life is good and nobody's messing with us. Right, Sean? Isn't it beautiful and nobody can tell us a goddamn thing to do? Isn't that awesome? We get to do whatever we want. Nobody messes with us. Sean and I, we've been working together for a while, so we're kind of already on the same wavelength. We could kind of, you know how the receiver looks at the quarterback and communicates and they know what they're doing? That's me and Sean already at this point. Being together the last couple of years and some of the messes that we've been involved. So we've been tried and tested in the worst conditions. And trust me, this is way better than any of the conditions we've been in the last couple of years. So it's a rough business, man. I would never tell any of your kids to get involved in this business at all. It's terrible, terrible business. The good thing is that we can do this now. I couldn't do this 5 years ago. There's no way I could go on my own and then bring sponsors in. But now the digital platform is the platform. The platform that sponsors don't want to be a part of that much anymore is regular radio and regular television because those things are dying. So trust me, I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere, man. I have no interest whatsoever in doing any kind of local radio. Ernest Ulavarro, thank you, sir, giving us a little love on the super chat. He says, they'll boot Solana and put Zach in. He's not a producer, though, just like they did to Falero, who got blindsided and screwed. No, he didn't. No, dude, Falero left them. He got a better job. Falero was smart. He got out before it got ugly. No, Falero did not get screwed, my man. Falero is in a much better place. No, he left them. Okay? And I don't think they'll let – Solana's a good kid, man. He does a nice job as a producer. I don't think they'll get rid of him at all. I disagree with you. You know, hopefully they'll add Zach somewhere else is what they'll do. Hopefully Zach in Hollywood will do other things also on the station. That's all. They're not going to expand their programming. That they're not going to do. They're going to try to do as little programming as possible. They don't want to spend money. They're trying to continue to cut. Why do you think they're making one station all syndication? Because they don't have to work at it. Just pot it up and national will take care of it, and that's it. It's a terrible, terrible business, ladies and gentlemen. Terrible business. And any of you parents out there, never ever allow your kids to get into radio. Okay, not a good business. Oh, what do you think about the Lincoln Riley as a replacement for Flo? These coaches seem to be trending upwards with their new philosophies. He started the development of Kyler Murray, and Baker Mayfield, and he's got a pretty good kid now. You know what? It's an interesting direction to go in. Don't know if it'll work. There's no guarantees, my friend, because he is going from college to the NFL, and it's a whole different ball game. But then again, look at what's going on with Kingsbury. He didn't win in college, and he's doing pretty good now, right? So anything is possible. No guarantees, but I like the thinking because it goes with the direction that we're going in, you know? Just like you shouldn't be banking, you should be doing DeFi, crypto, the direction we're going in. Hank Goldberg says, hey, hope Joe stays on Finn's radio. I think he does stay on Finn's radio broadcast. That's what I think he's going to do. I think he leaves the daily show and the daily grind, and then he hangs on to the Dolphin job. I think that's what he's going to do. Andy Slater and the people at QAM will be gone in a few years. Probably. I mean, it's Slater until he stops buying airtime, then, he'll go off the air. And then at QAM, eventually, yeah. It only ends one way in that business. You're right about that. That I can't deny that. It's going to end ugly for everybody that's there at one point or another. Yes, you are right. You're right. Can't argue with that one. Totally agree. Solana's the workhorse and great news for Falero. Yeah, Falero's a good kid, man. And Solana's a really good kid, too. They'll be fine. They're creative producers. I'm pretty sure they'll survive. As long as Hawk is there, I think Solana will be there. Okay? That's the way it goes. Dougie Fresh, yes, thank you. On the 7K, yes. We got to 7K on subscribers. Thank you. Let's now work our way to 8 and eventually get to 10K. That'll be the bomb when we get to the double digits. Let's see. The Dolphins are getting screwed by not being where they belong since realignment in the AFC South. My brother, I don't care where they're aligned and what division or whatever. I just want to win, man. I don't care about what division they're in and all that. It's about, getting the right people to run the organization, get the quarterback, get the team. I don't give a shit what division we're in. That to me makes no difference whatsoever. You've had many years where Buffalo and the Jets were crappy, and it was only New England, and you couldn't go up there and challenge them. And now, you have the opportunity, and Buffalo has jumped on, and Miami has not. And Miami has nobody to blame but themselves. It has nothing to do with division or anything like that. That's not going to make me feel any better or think that you've got a shot at anything at that point. Dolphin says Buffalo has had our number for a long time, which is why I want us to win this Sunday. Dolphin, everybody wants to win on every Sunday, my friend. And of course we want them to beat Buffalo. But the realistic point of view is they're not better than Buffalo. It's just the way it is. Let's see. At least I got the Avs and the MVP in Jokic and the Nuggets to fall back on. Well, there you go, Brad. Nice job by you. Although the Avalanche, unless they run into the Panthers, then, sorry about that, Brad. I just want you to know. We apologize about our Panthers. taking care of the Avalanche. Don't forget 855-912-1056. Let me get to some of the text chats here because I have not gotten to the text, and I told you I would in hour number 3. I'd be wrong if I did not get to some of the texts here. I do got to answer some when I get off the air, and I will. If the Watson trade does not happen, do you think that in order to save face with Tua, somebody needs to be fired and have a fall guy? Man, I just don't think they're going to do that. I don't think Ross will do that. I think Ross is going to bring both guys back and give them a shot to try to redeem themselves. I really do. I think that's what's going to end up happening. And I know that's not going to make a lot of you happy. You're all going to be really pissed off about it, but I think that's what's going to happen. Big O Richard is saying Herbert had the worst line in football last year and had many bombs thrown last year. Love your show. But I think Tua naked picks because nothing he does will make this team a Super Bowl contender. It's not a Super Bowl contender. And by the way, Herbert didn't beat any good teams last year, and he lost to Tua. I don't understand this justification by some of you out there. And this whole thing, here's the problem with some of you out there. You take the PFF rankings like they're gospel, and they're so full of shit, it's beyond me. The PFF rankings are crap. They're not accurate. And nobody's going to tell me that Miami didn't have the worst line last year like they have it this year. I don't care what those stupid-ass stats say by them. All right? Miami's line was terrible last year, and it's terrible once again this year. All I've watched was Fitz run for his freaking life. And then I watched Tua run for his life. That's all I've ever watched. So, this whole thing, some of you got this hard on for this whole deep throw crap, and it's just a terrible offense. And it's really hard to do the things that you want them to do when you don't have the receivers that are consistent enough to get downfield and actually hang on to the damn ball. And you don't have the line. And go look at the receivers they have, and they're still better at the offensive line, and they're better at running back. What about Jeff Fisher? Come on, man. Seriously? Jeff Fisher? Come on. Wouldn't it be nice to have Stevenson, Foster, Little Webb if we can only if we can only wish it? Great show, love it. Yours and DDW the best. Thank you very much. We had another great show this week with Dougley Do Wrong and myself. Post one every Tuesday, so check it out. It is out, so check it out. Oh, this is the same owner that tried to replace Sperano by going behind his back. Can't say Ross is not involved. Dude, that's a great point. This is why I said yesterday, I don't know who to trust anymore. I don't know what to believe. So when people tell me that Ross is not meddling, that's a great point on your part, bringing up the Harbaugh situation. Fantastic. That's why I told you, I don't know what to believe anymore now. And after this Flo offensive coordinator mess, and like I mentioned yesterday, for those of you that weren't listening, you think about all the screw-ups that have happened right now, okay? You think of everything that Flo has made a mistake with, and draft picks right now aren't really coming through, so it's a bad look for the GM. So if you continue on this path and you only win a couple of games, normally that costs people their jobs. And let's say Tua goes on the awry and doesn't really look good from here on out, then you've whiffed on the quarterback. That normally gets you fired. But if they're not firing them and they're allowing them to make the Watson move and make other moves, then I wonder who did make the Tua decision. You get what I'm saying? Because it's kind of odd. So I don't know if Greer really has made all the – I know he hasn't made all the decisions because it's obvious that Flo has had an influence in a lot of decisions made. But I'm still wondering, what about the Tua one? Because supposedly if all of you are unhappy with Tua and you're so quick on giving up on him, then that's normally a fireable offense. Like, why did you draft somebody at number 5? So if you're not firing them, then maybe Greer and Flo didn't make the Tua pick. Maybe it was the owner. And now the owner says, oh, yeah, you guys are right. Go ahead. Go get Watson. I don't know what to believe. And this gentleman brings it up that, he did go behind Sperano's back to go talk to Harbaugh. Big O Watson wants access to a new group of massage therapists that he can victimize. I'm in South Beach. That's his predatory ass wants out of Houston. It's disturbing how he is discussed like some great QB. He has not won anything in the NFL, period. Can't blame anybody that thinks like that. I have a good idea against the Bills. Tua should line up where the punter would line up in a long shotgun. This way he will have time to throw the ball. I've never seen this done before, but why not? Well, 1, the ball is going to take slightly longer to get there. 2, the defensive end has a straight line shot now at your quarterback. Now has to get around. So it's a lot easier. When you do the 7-step drop, it's easier to get to the quarterback. And if you think about the Dolphin tackles, they've got to now have a foot race with defensive ends. How are they going to do in your eyes? How is Jesse Davis going to do with a guy that he has to run straight line back? You think about that. That's not so simple as it sounds, my friend. Let's see, what else do we have here? I know you like Greer, but he is terrible, man. There has got to be a better choice out there. Perhaps we get someone out of the Baltimore and Pittsburgh organization. Who? Who do you know is going to be a difference maker? Which assistant GM, which college director of scouting, which pro player director of scouting do you want to hire, sir? See, it's the solutions don't come right out of your ass. They got to have some substance. Well, maybe we'll get somebody from Pittsburgh or Baltimore, and maybe that doesn't work at all, and you get the wrong person. They've done that too. They've gotten guys from other organizations that were good organizations, and it didn't work out. Good morning, Big O and Sean. What is the address to send you guys memorabilia for the studio? I will send you that address, sir. Or ma'am. Not exactly sure, but I will send you that address. Big O, would you ever consider bringing Joe Rose or Hawk or Crowder to your show? Yeah, why not? I mean, with Hawk, I'm not really going to talk sports. We'll just screw around. I mean, I like Hawk personally, and he probably doesn't like that I say this or whatever, but I'm sure he'll admit it too. I'm not really, listening to Hawk for sports. He's just kind of goofing off. Nothing wrong with it. People love that shit. Okay? Nothing wrong with it. He does a fun job with that stuff, but, not really listening to Hawk and Crowder, especially on the Hawk side. I'm not really listening for any sports knowledge or insight or anything that's, so probably Joe Rose more, and then Crowder in certain situations for football and stuff like that. But yeah, I would do that, of course. I have no problem. I like all those guys. But again, depends on what different conversations with different guys. That would be the only thing. Big O, isn't it crazy how other teams and fans are wanting Tua? Well, they see it. They see that he can play, man. He's not the problem here. The problem is everything around him. David says, Dolphins won more games than any team in the 70s, flying to New York, Buffalo, Baltimore, and Boston. 2.5-hour flights have nothing to do with our shitty record over the last 20 years. Exactly. There's nothing to do with it. Eddie Lupp says, Hawk admits it. He says it all the time. If you come here for real sports insight, that's on you. He knows who he is. Exactly. He's a good dude. He knows it. He's there to screw around. How long were you on the beat, and why did you leave? I was 8 years on the beat, Dolphins and Heat beat 8 straight years. I did it for a few other years before that for another station for 940. I eventually, because I became a full-time host, sir. So once I became a full-time host, I didn't have to do the beat thing every day. Thank God. Trust me, I got tired of the beat. You know what I mean? And especially when you're like the guy that everybody points at, like, hey, are you going to ask this question? Because I was usually the guy that had to ask the uncomfortable question. So I had to be the asshole in the interview all the time with the coach or the player or whatever and ask him the uncomfortable question that others were afraid to ask. I was the guy that had to ask it all the time. So, yeah. Big O, what do you think of the idea of bringing in Scott Pioli as GM if Greer is fired? So let me ask you, how come nobody else has hired Scott Pioli? Do you know Scott Pioli left New England, went to Kansas City, then gave Belichick a second-round pick for Matt Castle, the guy they drafted in the 6th round, the guy that was never a starting quarterback. But because one year he won 11 games and the sun shined on his ass for once in his life, they traded for him. Do you really want Scott Pioli? The guy that drafted Matt Castle, he should have known what Matt Castle was in New England when he drafted him, but yet he goes to Kansas City and he has to build a winner there, and he tells the people in Kansas City, I'm going to get you a winner with Matt Castle leading the way. I just let that all sit there, okay? My man gave up a second-round pick for Matt Castle. I can't believe the Miami Dolphins selected me as their fan of the year. I am now one of 32 people for the 2021 fan of the year. No matter what happens, I just hope my favorite football team and their fans proud Fins for life. And who is this that sent me this? Oh, Frank Slater. Frank, congratulations, my brother. I had to look at some of your prior texts to see if I see a name here. Let me see. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. No, Frank Slater is something else. Wait a minute. No, this is NorCal. Oh, NorCal. I saw that on Twitter. Congratulations, NorCal. That's what it is. So this is NorCal. He was selected as fan of the year. He's one of 32 now and well-deserved because NorCal is an absolute beast. NorCal, congratulations. I saw that on Twitter yesterday. I forgot that I was going to mention it on the show. Again, these are things, there's so much shit in my head that, it's hard to remember that. NorCal, congratulations, dude. Awesome by you. So, well, we got Big E winning it last year, right? So now we'll get you to win it this year. I love it. That's fantastic. That is so cool. Way to go, NorCal. Let's see. Well, Eddie Lepp is also saying that's NorCal. Thank you, Eddie Lepp. Dolphin says it may take years, perhaps, to get a possible conviction with due process, so at least we'll win some games in the process. Well, there's no guilty. There hasn't been any criminal charges filed yet, sir. It's all civil right now, and then there's 10 criminal complaints that are being investigated, but they're complaints, they're investigations, there are no charges. So nothing's going to court yet. So it may never get there. Remember, the guy, could be innocent. We have to first assume that he's innocent here until they're actually proven, because we really don't have any proof yet. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we need to see, because maybe there is some proof behind the scenes that we don't know about. Obviously, we saw some pretty emotional testimony some of it was pretty convincing. But again, it's hard to take the he said, she said type of thing as gospel. Scott Pioli gave up a second-round pick for Matt Castle, and Greer gave up a second-round pick for Josh Rosen only to release him following the season. Both GMs suck. I mean, unfortunately, man, I wish I could defend it being a Greer guy, but I know right now there's nothing to defend right now, man. Unfortunately, everything has gone completely wrong and awry. So those of you that feel that way, like that gentleman right there, can't argue with it. All right, we're going to wrap it up. We did 3.5 hours today. I think that's a lot of talking, as they say. By the way, Reed Sinnott, claimed by the Eagles. I like him, man. I like him. I was hoping he'd clear waivers and they get him back. I don't know if he turns into anything. But I would imagine Philadelphia saying, well, listen, you guys are going to get Watson now, so you don't need Reed Sinnott, so we're going to take him now because we got some problems at quarterback right now. All right, we're out of here. We thank Manny Navarro and Ira Winderman, and, of course, the real talent on the show, Sean Stanley, always getting it done. We thank all of you out there that that send in a text, a tweet. You can send us a text at 855-912-1056 if you're listening to the podcast. Those of you that send in a super chat, you send in a Cash App or Venmo. Thank you all out there. I appreciate it as always. Sean and I appreciate it as always. We will see you tomorrow. And remember, tomorrow morning at 8:30 in the morning. All right, smash that like button. We'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow because 9 to 10 is Inside the Paint, the Pallet Rack City Inside the Paint show with Ira and Clay. And then we're back at 10, rocking and rolling. So tomorrow morning, we start at 8:30, talking a little sports. Y'all be good out there. Be safe. Much love.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
It's the Big O.